The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hey, welcome into a phone-in Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. If you're in the market for a new or used automobile, you need to go see the good folks at Greenwood Chevrolet, located on Mahoning Avenue just off Route 11 in Austintown. As I've said millions of times before, the mark of a great car dealership is you must have a really good parts department, you got to have a great finance department, and you have to have an amazing group of salespeople. Greenwood Chevrolet has all three of these components. They're an unbelievably great car dealership. So if you're in the market for a new or used automobile, definitely go to Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Tonight's the night, the Division 7 state semifinals. The Warren JFK Eagles will be taking on Newark Catholic, the Green Wave. I got to be honest. This is new territory. Not the fact that the JFK is in the state semifinals. That's not new territory at all. Not even close to being new territory because they have won multiple state championships. What is new territory is this: these two teams have never played each other. And think about this for a second. Newark Catholic in the 70s and early 80s was the gold standard for, back then it was Class A ball, because back then the affiliations in the state of Ohio were not divisions, they were classes. And there were only three affiliations. You had A ball for the small kids, the small schools, double A and triple A. And that was it. That was the only classifications that we had for the longest time in the state of Ohio. And then they started breaking things down into divisions. Originally they had 5, then came 6, and now we have 7. It's amazing to me that in all of the years that JFK and Newark Catholic have been really, really great programs, and they were great at the same time for a number of years. It's amazing to me that these two teams have never seen each other in the postseason, let alone never seen each other in the regular season, which I find to be mind-blowing. I really do. You would have thought at some point down the road these two teams would have seen each other because, truth be told, they're two of the best programs in the entire state of Ohio, two of the best small school parochial schools in the state of Ohio. And it's amazing these two teams have not hooked up on the football field, and that's going to end tonight. 7 o'clock game time from Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. Dom O'Brien and DJ Yoakley will not only be taking care of the pregame duties from Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, they will also have the game. Now, keep in mind, this game is not going to be televised per se. We're not going to have the video that we normally do. And the main reason behind that is when you get to the state semifinals and the state championship game, well, Spectrum, a cable company that doesn't really have a footprint in the Mahoning Valley. I mean, very few people have Spectrum in the Mahoning Valley, but nonetheless, They have a footprint across the state of Ohio, and they decided that they wanted to be the official television and video home for the Ohio High School Athletic Association playoffs. So naturally, because someone has cornered that market, we are not allowed to do any of the television or video per se. So what we will do is what we've done the first couple of years in our company's history, and that was to do audio games. So we will not have any video. We'll go back and well, I don't even know if we can say old school because what if we only 3 years old, 3 football seasons? I don't think you can go old school per se, but we'll go back to our roots, and it'll be an audio game. And, of course, being that it's an audio game, no pay-per-view, you can listen to the game free of charge. Go to ysnlive.com. Listen to DJ Yoakley and Dom O'Brien, JFK grad Dom O'Brien. They'll have the pregame show as well as the game itself, and it is going to be a lot of fun. 7 o'clock game time. The winner of this game will play Friday afternoon, next Friday. The winner of this game will play next Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock. And the winner of this game gets the winner of the Lima Central Catholic and New Bremen game. Lima Central Catholic, one of the better parochial schools in the western part of the state. New Bremen is a part of the Midwest Athletic Conference. This is a team that knocked off Maria Stein Marion Local in a rematch of a Week 1 matchup between those two schools. Maria Stein Marion Local beat them in Week 1. I believe they beat them by 4 points, and New Bremen returned the favor in their regional championship. So New Bremen plays Lima Central Catholic from Wapakoneta High School tonight. The winner of that game gets the winner of Warren JFK and Newark Catholic. And the OHSAA announced the state championship games yesterday, late yesterday afternoon, after Running Point had gone off the air. Next Friday, the D7 state championship game will be played at 2 p.m. So mark it on your calendars. Next Friday, 2 p.m. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood. I think this is appropriate. One of those numbers. Newark Catholic, Warren JFK. If JFK wins, they're in the state championship game for the second time in 5 years. And hopefully looking to win their third state championship. Actually, it would be their fourth. It would be their fourth state championship. My mistake. It would be their fourth state title. So, but JFK has to get past Newark Catholic. So there you go. Tomorrow, the Springfield Tigers are going to venture down I-77, across I-70 a smidge, about a 2-hour journey, as Springfield will be taking on Beverly Fort Fry and that wing T offense that is so difficult to defend because, well, in today's game, lots of teams are chucking it down the field and playing a more modern style of football, and yet here's Beverly Fort Fry sticking to what is truly old school, a wing T formation, and they do it well. Obviously, they do it well. They're 10-0 this year. Springfield is 10-0. The adjustments that are going to have to be made, the defense is going to have to be assignment sound. We will chat with Sean Guerrero, and we'll talk a little bit about the game, the game last week, in which Springfield won their regional championship game with a thrilling victory last Saturday. And we'll preview this game with Beverly Fort Fry. This should be a fantastic matchup next Saturday, or I should say tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. The winner of the Springfield-Beverly Fort Fry game will play the winner of Coldwater and Columbus Grove. Like New Bremen, Coldwater is in that Midwest Athletic Conference. They're undefeated. So is Columbus Grove. One of only two regions. One of only two divisions. Division 5 is the other one, where the entire 4-team field in the state semifinals are undefeated. The entire Division 6 state semifinal field is unbeaten. So if Springfield wins tomorrow night, they're guaranteed to play an undefeated team. If Springfield wins tomorrow night, the state championship game is going to be on Sunday afternoon. Now, originally, this game was supposed to have been played Sunday night at 7 o'clock. Apparently, someone was listening to Running Point and probably got some sense knocked into them when I said, why the hell would anyone play a game on a Sunday night knowing that you have school the next day? You got to move this back. If you're going to play Sunday, which again, I am completely cannot be on board with this. However, it's not the first time that a school function has been held on a Sunday. It just, the line was crossed many years ago. It's just I'm not a fan of Sunday games for high school sports. That's just me. I think it's I don't think it's a great idea. However, if you're going to do a game on a Sunday, you got to make sure that the game has got to be played in an afternoon setting. Otherwise, you're talking about having kids going to school the next day in a foul mood because they're not going to get much sleep. So instead of this game being at 7, they moved it back a few hours. The game is at 5. So this is a lot better. Now, again, if Springfield wins, all right, you're talking about a 3-hour jaunt down to Obetz, which is south and a little east of Columbus. So I figure the game is over at about 7:30. The pro trophy presentation, all that other gobbledygook. You go back home at 8:30. You're home at about 11:30. You're in bed by midnight. So there you go. That's not bad. That's actually pretty good. And you could still get a decent night's sleep and get up the next day and bring the state championship trophy with you and put it in the trophy case, which is going to be phenomenal. Springfield, if they win, they will take on the winner of Columbus Grove and Coldwater next Sunday afternoon, the Sunday before Thanksgiving, Sunday, November the 22nd. That game will start at 5 p.m. We will have pregame show coverage with Ack and Steve Leslie, and the game itself will be broadcast from Zanesville High School. Again, same concept as tonight's. We can't stress this enough. You're not going to be paying for $9.99 for the game because we're not going to be providing the video. And we can't provide the video because Spectrum has the cable rights, the television rights, the internet video rights. They have it all with the OHSAA. So the only thing that we can do as a member of a member of the media, the only thing that we can do is provide the audio. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Tonight from Paul Brown Tiger Stadium in Massillon, the game starts at 7, Warren JFK and Newark Catholic. First time these two teams will meet. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, Springfield will be taking on Beverly Fort Fry. We'll have the head football coach of the Springfield Tigers, Sean Guerrero, on the show in about 45 minutes. We'll talk a little bit about tomorrow night's game. And hopefully, fingers crossed, Springfield gets back to a state championship game for a second consecutive year. So Sean Guerrero will be joining me in about 45 minutes or so. Okay, what has been going on today? Well, we're going to be talking an awful lot about local stuff. It's not just about football. We got 2 soccer games tomorrow afternoon at Mopfree Stadium. Cardinal Mooney, the boys soccer team playing for a state championship. Mooney will take on Cincinnati Marymount. Cardinal Mooney, 16 wins, 2 losses, 4 draws. They'll take on an undefeated Marymount team. Marymount is the number 1 ranked team, according to the coaches. They're the number 1 ranked team. 21 wins, no losses, no draws. They've won every single game that they have played this year, but I will guarantee you that Marymount has not seen a defense quite like Cardinal Mooney's. Mooney's defense is pretty solid. It is a pretty solid defense, and frankly, it's one of the reasons why Cardinal Mooney is in the state championship game. And we'll see what happens. That game is going to be played at Mopfree Stadium, the home of the Columbus Crew, tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. And then tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, the Howland Tigers, 21 wins, no losses, 1 draw. They will be taking on Tip City Tippecanoe in a rematch of the Division II state championship game. This game will kick off at 4 o'clock from Mopfree Stadium, the home of the Columbus Crew. Last year, Tippecanoe knocked off Howland. Howland looking to get a little bit of revenge and get their first boys soccer state championship. If you remember, Bay Village Bay in the regional semifinals, that was a matchup between the top 2 teams, according to the coaches, in Division II soccer. Howland was able to get the victory over Bay Village Bay. Watch Bayside, by the bay, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the time roll away. Lotus Redding, for those that aren't recognizing that. Rest in peace, Otis. Good song. Anyway, hopefully Howland gets the job done tomorrow afternoon as they look to win their first boys state championship. They got a date with Tip City Tippecanoe, looking to extract a little revenge from last year. So a lot of things going on with boys soccer. And then obviously that leads us into tomorrow night's game between Springfield and Beverly Fort Fry in the D6 state semifinals in boys football. All right, we've been talking about the Masters tournament. Round number 2 is underway after all kinds of craziness in round number 1. It started raining early on. The first part of the day was backed up by about a half hour, 40 minutes. Then everything started going okay. Then it got backed up a little bit more with another rain delay. And here's the thing. Now that we're on standard time and not daylight savings time, the sun goes down pretty quickly. So because the sun goes down pretty quickly, the golfers, you got to be done by about 5 o'clock, a little after 5. Otherwise, you're SOL. You just are, because Augusta is a little further east than we are in the Mahoning Valley. A little further east. Not much. A little tiny bit further east than we are. The further east you go, the earlier the sun sets. If that makes any sense. The further east you go, the earlier the sun sets. So around 5 o'clock, that's when you're just not going to be able to play any more golf. And because of that, and again, because we're on standard time and not daylight savings time, the sun is not out nearly as much. So because of that, they had to pretty much suspend the end of the first round. And then early this morning, everybody who didn't finish the first round started golfing and finishing their first round. And now we're finally getting everyone on the course to start the second round of the Masters. As far as our local contestant goes, Jason Kochrack, who got to the Masters this year by finishing in the top 30 in last year's FedEx Cup. He did not win on the PGA Tour last year. The reason why he's in the Masters this year was because he finished in the top 30 in the FedEx Cup. That's what propelled him into the Masters. This is his first time in the Masters. Jason Kochrack is currently tied for 39th, right at the projected cut line. They're looking to take the top 50 golfers when it's all said and done. They're looking to cut it down to 50. Right now, there is approximately 92 golfers that are taking part in this. They want to cut it down to the top 50. Kochrack is on the cut line right now. So he's going to have a pretty productive day to get himself not only away from the cut line, but to get himself near the leaders. Dustin Johnson is currently leading the Masters. He's 2 under through 5 holes in the second round, shot a 7 under par 65 in round number 1. He's 2 under for the day, 9 under for the tournament. He currently holds a 2-shot lead. Again, Jason Kochrack is 8 shots back. Kochrack is going to be starting his round at 2:19 this afternoon. Tiger Woods, who is 4 under par, 5 shots behind Dustin Johnson, Tiger's going to start his round at 2:30. Now, there's a pretty realistic chance that neither one of these guys are going to finish the second round. There's a pretty good chance that that is going to happen. Now, right now at Augusta, the weather's cooperating. It's 76 degrees. The weather's cooperating. There's supposed to be some hit and miss showers and whatnot all weekend long. So as long as it doesn't golf in Augusta, most of the golfers should be able to get the second round finished. Most of them should be able to get the second round finished. There's a pretty good chance that Kochrack and Tiger Woods will not get the second round finished, that they'll have to start early on Saturday morning to get the second round finished. And then we'll know a little bit more about where the cut line is and all that other stuff. But Kokorak shot a 1 under par. He was up and down the first 9 holes. He ripped off 3 straight birdies to go to 3 under after 14. He bogeyed the 15th hole, parred the 16th, bogeyed the 17th to go back to 1 under, and he parred the 18th hole. So he finished 1 under 71 in round 1. He's currently 8 shots off the pace, and for Kochrack, he's right at the projected cut line. So Jason's going to have a pretty good afternoon of golf in order for him to remain in the top 50 and, get in the money in the 2020 Masters. Now, the good news for Jason, win, lose, or draw, Jason Kochrack will be back next year at the Masters, and he's earned that right because he won on tour this year. So whether Kochrack makes the cuts or finishes in the top 10, he's coming back next year. He is definitely coming back next year because he won on tour this year, and that gives him an automatic berth into the 2021 Masters tournament. And knock on wood, hopefully the Masters is next April, where it's supposed to be, where the golfers don't have to shut it down at 5 o'clock in the afternoon because we're on a completely different time schedule. Yeah, 2020 can just kiss my ass. This is ridiculous. It just is. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. Speaking of the Masters, Brian Tolnar, our good buddy from Mill Creek, he has given us 4 questions. Now, we already have one winner in our contest. Jody Hollabaugh picks up a gift certificate for a round of 18 holes and a cart at Mill Creek. And you can be a winner as well. All you need to do is answer one of these remaining 3 questions. If you can answer one of these 3 questions, and by doing so, you got to hit me up on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, 330-886-0813. If you're able to answer one of these 3 questions, you will get a gift certificate, which is good for 18 holes of golf and a cart from the great folks at Mill Creek. All right, Jody Hollabaugh answered the first question. The first president to belong to the Augusta National Country Club, Dwight D. Eisenhower. Now, question number 2 is pertaining to the answer to question number 1. And since we do know the answer, President Eisenhower, let's ask question number 2 by filling in the president's name. So question number 2 is, what are or were the 2 things on the property named for Dwight D. Eisenhower? I can give you a hint. One is still very much a part of the golf course. The second artifact is no longer on the golf course. So the question number 2, what are or were the 2 things on the Augusta property named for President Eisenhower. Again, one of the artifacts is no longer there. The other one, it's most definitely there and has been there for quite some time. All right, question number 3. Name the tree that the players and members of the media meet near the clubhouse at Augusta. Name the tree that the players and members of the media meet near the clubhouse at Augusta. And then question number 4, Amen Corner is holes 11, 12, and 13. Now, every hole at Augusta has a nickname. We are looking for the nicknames that make up Amen Corner. So we're looking for the nickname of hole number 11, hole number 12, and hole number 13. If you know the answer to any of these 3 questions, hit me up on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, 330-886-0813. If you're right, you will pick up a gift certificate good for 18 holes and a cart from Mill Creek. All right, we're going to take a time out. On the other side, we'll take some phone calls and some long overdue congratulations to a colleague from many, many years ago. And frankly, it's a great day in Major League Baseball in terms of them getting into the 21st century. And I could not be prouder of Major League Baseball, specifically the Miami Marlins. We'll tell you a little bit about the honor that is long overdue to a colleague of mine from many, many moons ago. We'll talk a little bit about that and take your phone calls on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, 330-886-0813. Back in a bit.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
Boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken.
Around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect
Important for everyone.
No place like home.
more local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
Went to Greenwood Chevrolet because
I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Okay, this morning, the Cleveland Browns had to shut down the offices after a player, an unidentified player, tested positive for COVID. So Sunday's game between the Browns and the Houston Texans is very much up in the air right now. The Browns have to go through the rigmarole of contact tracing. They got to figure out how many guys were near or in contact with the unidentified player that has tested positive for COVID, and then they have to quarantine those people. And well, we could very easily have no game as far as Cleveland goes on Sunday. There is a very real possibility that the Browns may not be playing a game on Sunday because of the fact that an unidentified player has tested positive for COVID. So, unfortunately, we'll wait and see. And then again, this might be a false positive. This is certainly something that nobody wants to see. Certainly not anybody in the National Football League. And, this is one of the setbacks that is probability when it comes to playing the game in an environment like the environment we have right now, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens. If again, this could be a false positive. They'll I'm going to assume that they're going to be testing this person again. However, if in fact he is positive for COVID and he did test positive, if no other tests come back negative and he is in fact positive for COVID, the Browns are going to have to figure out, okay, how many people have been in contact with this unidentified player, how many people are going to have to be quarantined because of contact tracing, and depending on how many people are going to be quarantined is going to determine whether or not Sunday's game is going to happen. But the Browns had to close the offices down today when they found out that one of the football players in the organization tested positive for COVID. So we'll keep you abreast of that situation. I made mention of something that has taken place this morning. The Miami Marlins become the first Major League Baseball team to employ a woman general manager. And this woman, her name is Kim Ng. She has had all kinds of experience in Major League Baseball. Now, I got to know Kim when we were both employed by the Dodger organization. She came on board as the assistant general manager in 2001 after she was named assistant general manager with the New York Yankees in the late 90s. Kim Ng had 3 World Series titles. She was there for 3 of the World Series championships won by the Yankees in the late 90s. She was hired to be the assistant general manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers in 2001. She was interviewed not only for the Dodgers opening general manager job a few years later that ultimately went to Ned Collette. She was also interviewed for a number of other GM jobs and wasn't able to get a GM job for whatever reason. And I'm so glad that a woman with this much experience has finally been able to break that glass ceiling. And I'll say this. I have no problem saying this. In a world in which there are too many guys in this business that are very chauvinistic. Too many guys in this business don't recognize brilliant talent when they see it because this person doesn't look like you. This person is a woman. This person isn't supposed to know all of this stuff. This person, well, she's a woman. How could she possibly do? That is such antiquated garbage. Antiquated garbage. And I'm so happy for Kim Ng. First of all, for sticking around the game. Because she could have very easily just thrown her hands up and said, screw this. I don't need this. Because she just hasn't been treated right. No, there are very few women in the sports industry that have been treated right. And that's a damn shame. It really is. Because there are plenty of women in the sports industry that have a number of years of experience that frankly can do a better job than some of the retreads that are running around Major League Baseball right now, or the National Football League, or the NBA, or the NHL. You pick the sport. I'm just glad that glass ceiling has finally been punctured and broken, and I'm really glad the person that did this is the person that should have done this a hell of a lot longer ago. Congratulations to Kim Ng. Congratulations to Derek Jeter and the Marlins organization for having the smarts to understand that this woman probably knows more about the game than 99% of the guys that are in the game of baseball right now. This is a great hiring and a great day for Major League Baseball, and I could not be happier for the Marlins, and I couldn't be happier for Kim Ng. Like I said, we only worked together for 1 year, and we met once. She's a wonderful, wonderful person, a wealth of knowledge, and I am just happy for her. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for the Marlins, and I'm glad that Major League Baseball finally got its head out of its ass when it comes to making the opportunities for women the same as men, because this person deserves that opportunity. She knows more about this game than 99% of the people that are currently working in her position in baseball. This is a great hiring for the Marlins. It really is. And I know it's a local show, but I needed to throw that out there because I think this is just a phenomenal, phenomenal day for Major League Baseball. And as far as resumes goes, if there's a better resume for a first-time general manager in Major League Baseball, I haven't seen it, because Kim Ng has a resume like nobody's business. And the only reason why she has not gotten a job a hell of a lot earlier is because she's not a guy. And that's the damn shame of it all. Thankfully, we're starting to give the women their rightful place. And I'm not talking about just hiring someone off the street. Now, you're going to have some experience. But there's two things that need to be done. Number one, the door doesn't need to be slammed shut for all women. If a woman is qualified to do this job in anything in sports, that door should be open for that person, number one. And number two, and we're finally now seeing this, and I think that Kim Ng is going to have all kinds of pressure on her because, well, let's be honest, if this experience doesn't work, well, by God, we may not hire another woman to be general manager. I hope that she gets the Marlins consistently in the playoffs and has this organization playing championship caliber ball within 3 years. I just think it's a great day for Major League Baseball and a fantastic day for women in sports as well. All right, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. JFK playing tonight against Newark Catholic. Springfield playing tomorrow night against Beverly Fort Fry. If JFK wins tonight, they will be playing next Friday afternoon, which I think is a great thing. They won't be off of their routine. Whoever wins this game will not be off their routine. They'll be now. Granted, they'll play a little earlier, about 5 hours earlier than what they normally would play. But as far as the practices go, you're not off your routine. You've been playing Friday nights all year long. JFK might have played a Saturday game. I believe they did play one Saturday game because of the they play Gilmore Academy up there because of the fact they don't have lights up there, a wildlife setting or whatever. But they, by and large, they've played Friday games all year long. And the fact that, you're still in that schedule, I think it's a great thing. And we'll hopefully, JFK knocks off Newark Catholic, gets to the state title game, whether they play Lima Central Catholic, whether they play New Bremen, who knows. But whoever it is, they'll play the state championship game next Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock. And again, you don't have to play on a Thursday or a Saturday or a Sunday. You're going to be still on that schedule of playing on a Friday, which I think is a good thing. Springfield, if they play or if they win tomorrow night, they won't be playing on Saturday. They won't be playing on Saturday. They'll be playing on a Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock. Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock, they would be playing the winner of Columbus Grove and Coldwater. And I made mention on this show on an awful lot during the course of this week. In a perfect world, and hopefully the world is perfect. I mean, well, not really perfect, but in this scenario, I hope it's perfect. I hope JFK and Springfield both win. And I would love the opportunity for these two schools to take on the two representatives from the Midwest Athletic Conference. New Bremen in Division 7 and Coldwater in Division 6. Now, it's been said time and time again by a lot of people throughout the state of Ohio that the Midwest Athletic Conference is hands down the best small division conference in the state of Ohio, not just for football, but every single team in that conference has a regional caliber or a state caliber program, at least one. In all the sports that are played in high school athletics, male or female, every single team in this league has a regional or state recognized program in at least one sport. It's a really good conference. And I think that it would be phenomenal for arguably the two best teams in our area. Now, maybe it's not the two best teams, but it's certainly the teams that have lasted the longest. The two survivors in this state tournament. I would love for these two teams to have an opportunity to play the two teams from the Midwest Athletic Conference because, I mean, let's be honest. I'd love to see what our two teams in the Mahoning Valley and our two YSN family teams can do against a conference that is perceived to be the best small school conference in the state of Ohio. I'd love to see it. I would absolutely love to see New Bremen and Warren JFK play next Friday afternoon at 2 o'clock, and I would absolutely love to see Springfield take on Coldwater next Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock. Now, obviously, if you're a fan of one of these teams or both of these teams, and hopefully everyone is a fan of these two teams, one thing I love about the Mahoning Valley, whether your team is still alive or another team is still alive, we all tend to root for our fellow teams in the Mahoning Valley. And even the teams that you would consider to be rivals, in Springfield's case, South Range, I will guarantee you Dan Yeagley, his staff, and the players are rooting for Springfield this weekend. I'll guarantee you that. And look, these two teams, they're rivals. It's a pretty interesting rivalry that those two teams have, going back to the old inter-county league. But I'll guarantee you that Coach Yeagley, the coaching staff, the players, they all are going to be rooting for Springfield. I'll take it back 25 years ago, when the Lisbon Blue Devils won their state championship. In 1995, Zach Williams was the quarterback. Lisbon completed an undefeated season, winning their state championship game in triple overtime, getting the, I believe, Division 6 state championship. It was either Division 5 or Division 6 state championship in 1995. I'm going to tell you right now, Leetonia and Lisbon, yeah, we got a serious rivalry going on. I'll guarantee you, a lot of us in Leetonia, a lot of the folks in Columbiana, United, Southern, Crestview, Palestine, Wellsville, all the teams in Columbiana County, let's go Blue Devils. Bring it home. It's one of the great things I love about this area is we put down our swords when it's tournament time, especially if one of the teams is about to make a historic run. And let's be honest, win, lose, or draw tonight, tomorrow night, Warren JFK and Springfield have both made a very historic run. I have said this all week long, and it bears repeating. In a world in which all of us are hell-bent on winning, and if you, to steal a line from Talladega Nights, if you ain't winning, you're losing. If you get to the state semifinals in any sport, football, volleyball, soccer, basketball, baseball, softball, track and field, whatever. Well, track and field doesn't have a state semifinal. It has a district, regional, and the state. If you get to a state semifinal in a team sport, good God, have you done something amazing. Absolutely amazing. And win or lose tonight with JFK, win or lose tomorrow night with Springfield. These two teams have absolutely nothing to hang their hat about, or to hang their head about. If they were to lose this weekend, and I don't think they will, by the way, if they were to lose this weekend, you don't have any reason to hang your head. To get to a state semifinal in any sport, you have got to be a damn good team. You just have to be a damn good team. Make no two bones about that. All right, let's get to the phone lines at 330-886-0813. Champ, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What up, brother?
Hi, Ron. First of all, good luck and double and triple good luck to our two local teams left. Let's bring home a state championship. Would be wonderful. And obviously, we're all rooting for them both. But I want to talk about, the Marlins. I want to credit them for what they did in this hiring. And I understand you know the woman. And but you know what? It's great to see it finally. And, you know, I'm a big Raider fan. And the Raiders, especially Al Davis, I mean, he's got a lot of history in terms of giving opportunities to minorities. Obviously, Tom Flores was the first Hispanic-American quarterback in the modern era. He was also the second Hispanic-American head coach in 1979. He was the first Hispanic head coach to win a Super Bowl. And Archell was the first African-American head coach in the modern era, hired by Al Davis in 1989. But on the lines that you're talking about, they also were the first team, the Raiders. Al Davis was hiring the first woman CEO in NFL history in 1997. Amy Trask was hired as the CEO of the Oakland Raiders. I think that we talk a lot about minorities, but you know what? Women have worked very hard. I remember when I went to Ohio University in the 70s, you could count on one hand how many women were there for broadcasting. But that has obviously gone up recently. And I would hope to see soon that we would locally, and maybe your station too, could open some windows for some women that go to school for broadcasting and give them the opportunity, because you know what, they can do just as good as the men, and you don't have to play a sport to be an expert in that sport. But I think it's a great thing what the Marlins did, and hopefully other organizations, other sports will continue to do that.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. There's two kids that I've become very good friends with, Brittany Mollis and Bree Duco. That's her maiden name. She graduated from Leetonia. I know her parents, Marcia and Larry Duco. Bree was a Hall of Fame basketball player at Leetonia High School. They have a podcast, That's What B Said, which might be the best podcast I have heard in northeastern Ohio. They're intelligent. They know exactly what is going on in all of Cleveland sports, and it is a damn good podcast that these two kids do.
You know, we have in college basketball, we have a lot of Division I and Division II schools that are coached, women's teams that are coached by men, and I don't see why that can't happen with women coaching men's Division I basketball teams. Hopefully that'll start to occur pretty soon, because I could never understand that, why a man is qualified to coach a women's team, but a woman is not necessarily qualified to coach a men's team. I never could understand that, but hopefully that'll change in the near future.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Pat Summitt's obviously no longer with us, but when Pat Summitt was alive, longtime head basketball coach for the UT Vols women's basketball program, hey, Pat Summitt could have very easily coached the guys, and I think that she would have done a better job than every single person not named Bruce Pearl in that organization, in that program. I think that she could have very easily been the head basketball coach for the UT men's basketball team and done a great job. She was that great of a basketball coach.
As far as the situation, Ron, real quickly, the Notre Dame game, your point about how Djokovic, the quarterback at Boston College, is going to be really looking forward to playing against Notre Dame on Saturday, and I agree with that. But I would counter this saying that that's just one player. I would guess there's probably at least 50 players on Notre Dame that want to get their hands on Mr. Djokovic. Not that he was a bad guy, but it's just competition. So I think that front seven of Notre Dame's defense is going to be extra motivated to at least get a hand on him and maybe knock him down a few times in that game. So I think that in terms of that goes, Notre Dame might have the advantage in numbers in terms of who wants to win more based on former teammates.
No, I agree with that. And Notre Dame is more talented across the board. I'm just saying Djokovic is going to have a pretty good game. I think he's circled this game for plenty of reasons, and obviously when you leave a college and go to another college, you definitely want to show the team that you left that you still have plenty of ammunition and that you're a really good player. And I'm sure that Djokovic is going to have a solid game, but I'm with you. I mean, as long as Notre Dame isn't flatter than a pancake. And that's the one fear that I have, the fact that they just got done beating the number one ranked team, albeit without their starting quarterback and a few of their guys on defense, but they still beat the number one ranked team in Clemson. And, if you fall out flatter than a pancake, this Boston College team can get you. And my fear is Boston College is going to catch Notre Dame off guard. I'm hoping Notre Dame is going to be up for this game, and that there's not going to be any ill effects from Saturday night and their emotional victory over number one Clemson.
Yeah, I think the difference between this game and maybe way back Florida State situation where they lost the following week is that back then Notre Dame didn't have to prove anything to the country. The country knew that they were a legitimate national championship contender every year. They're trying to prove that now, and I think they worked so hard to win that game last week at Clemson, I think that they're going to come out strong. And granted, the equalizer all the time, as you know, is turnovers. I mean, we never can explain why they happen, but turnovers is the main reason when an upset happens. It's usually involved turnovers or some plays that you can't explain. But interesting thing I read this week about Notre Dame is that because of their depth on defense, because they literally shuffle in and out, they literally play their front seven. They play like 14, 15 different guys. Because of them shuffling in and out, a lot of these players, and they were looking at the minutes played last year compared to this year, a lot of these guys' minutes are down from last year because they have more depth, and they're a little more fresh at the end of games, and they're obviously hopefully going to be more fresh as the season goes on, because that has been a problem lately. As you remember, the last 3 years they've really struggled down the stretch. But I think because of their depth, their players are more fresh, and they just don't play as many minutes during the game. And that can be key also, especially when you're playing against great offensive teams.
Well, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, the championship teams have depth all over the place, and that's one of the reasons why the starters look so much fresher when we're further down the road in games played. When you have a solid second team that, well, let's be honest, some of the blue-blooded schools, Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, they have kids on their second team that could probably play and start in 90% of the other non-blue-blooded schools. So it's, when you have that kind of depth, it makes your job a lot easier. And Notre Dame is finally starting to get that depth. And hopefully we're about to see a pretty special run for Notre Dame through the rest of the ACC season and on into the ACC title game.
Remember the year that Teo was the star of the defense and they played Alabama in the championship game? I remember the month before that game was played, the Irish had so many injuries and so lack of depth that they couldn't even field a practice with their defensive players. And you remember what happened in Clemson the last time they played when their stud cornerback went down for just one quarter. It completely changed that game. That second quarter was Clemson got all their points, it seems, in that second quarter. They really took advantage of the lack of depth that Notre Dame had at that one corner position. And I think that's, to me, the biggest difference between these teams now, the last couple of years, and previous teams is the depth on defense, especially the front seven. And you see a lot of guys now being transferred out of Notre Dame that it's not because they're unhappy. They just can't get on the field because of so much talent. And they're playing a lot of freshmen and sophomores, too, which is always encouraging. That shows that they're doing a good job in recruiting.
Yeah, no, it's look, I mean, Notre Dame is poised, not just this year, but next year, to have a really, really good shot at a college football playoff berth. Champ, we got to get going, brother. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Ryan.
Have a great weekend. 330-886-0813. Take a timeout. Sean Guerrero, the head football coach of the Springfield Tigers, he's coming up next. We'll talk Tigers football with Sean Guerrero. Stick around. It's a Football Friday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet, Mahoning Avenue in Austintown.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Tim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Tomorrow night, the Springfield Tigers go into the state semifinals for a second consecutive year. They will travel to Zanesville, a couple of hours from the Valley, down I-77, across 70 West, about 10 miles, give or take a mile or so, as they take on Beverly Fort Fry in a state semifinal game in Division 6. And to talk about that state semifinal game as well as the regional championship game from last week, we bring in the head football coach of the Springfield Tigers, Sean Guerrero, who joins me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. What up, brother?
Hey, how are you doing today?
Listen, I'm doing good, but I can't imagine that I'm doing any bit better than you are, because you and your coaching staff and your kids, you get to go to the dance again for a second consecutive year. Talk a little bit about the importance of getting back to the state semifinals after last year, Coach.
Well, I do think it still goes back to our underclassmen when leaving that game. I don't think our kids were very satisfied on the way they ended up playing. So for the talk since then, for a goal for those guys to work throughout the off season, throughout the pandemic, throughout the summer, still jumping through hoops and everything that we've done. You know, I'm so proud how they've rebounded. I'm so proud how they've handled adversity and continually fight to make sure we can keep this thing going.
You know, it gets to be a little tiring after a while of people that are sitting back and going, okay, well, Springfield's got to check this box. Okay, can they beat a team on the road, a quality team on the road? Oh, yeah, I guess they can. Here's a check on the check of the box. Okay, they've blown out everyone. Can they get into a really, really tight game and come back from a 4-point deficit or somewhere thereabouts with under a minute to go in the game? Well, we checked that box last week. Talk a little bit about the wild finish that you guys had with Norway. You go down 48-45 with about 36 seconds to go in the game. From what I understand, because obviously with COVID, not many of us are able to go to the game, the crowd behind you is stunned silent, and your kids are like, well, this ain't over yet. We're going to go down the field, win the ball game. Talk a little bit about just the confidence that you guys had when Norway took the lead.
Well, that's one thing, and we just got to make sure they stay positive at that point. There was some times offensively that I think we kind of stopped ourselves maybe throughout the game when we didn't capitalize on us. But our offense was clicking. They were very productive. So going into that, they scored with the time. Norway called a timeout to make sure for their 2-point conversion, and at that point, we start talking on the headphones. Hey, we've been getting the ball in the 35-40. If we can stop the 2-point conversion, and we need to get about 40 yards to get Clay in position to kick a field goal to win. And we kind of touched on that right before the 2-point conversion. And, hey, this isn't a thing. Just let's make sure we stop them on this 2-point conversion, and it'll be no big deal. We'll drive down, we'll put points on the board, and we'll have Clay kick the game winner. And you can see that they held their shoulders a little bit higher, their heads were up, and they scored the 2-point conversion. We came back with talked to the kickoff return like, hey, we got to make sure we get on the ball. If you have an opportunity to pick it up, get as many yards as you can, get down. We had 3 timeouts at that point. Even with the kickoff return, we used our wristbands or our 2-minute. We passed out those to our skill kids, and then we briefly talked about it. So once we started letting our kickoff return go, Coach Brungard and myself, he was talking about plays that he liked. So we went with the vertical package on the first play. So we got the return. I think it was on the 41-yard line. Clayton Nesbitt got the ball, got as many yards as he could, and got down. So it was 31 seconds left. Our kids ran that 2-minute drill like no other. You know what I mean? That was something that we worked on. It was we actually had a learning experience two weeks ago in playing St. Thomas Aquinas, where it was before half. We did it, and we kind of made a couple mistakes. You know what I mean, on not getting out of bounds or not doing that. So to me, you see, you know what I mean, some progress with our kids. Ran the first vertical play. Bo hits the check down to Clayton Nesbitt. He gets about 15 yards, gets out of bounds. We don't have to waste the timeout. Call the next play. Clay Medvick hit a dig route. I mean, I think probably on the 35-yard line now going in. We're like, well, if we got to kick it now, we can. You know what I mean? We can. So he gets tackled inbounds right in the middle of the field. We call a timeout. We bring him back. Gave Bo the next play on another vertical route. He had, you know, I mean, depending on what the defense looked. If they were tighter, we were just going to take a shot deep. If they're backed off, we were going to go to, you know, a back shoulder throw. They were backed off. We went to the back shoulder throw. Burned our second timeout. Now we're on the 19-yard line with 16 seconds left. So between Mark and why we called, you know what I mean, we both kind of, he had a couple plays, I mean, laid out for the situation. He goes, hey, what about the reverse, you know, I mean, the double reverse? Last 2 times we ran it, actually last 3 times we ran it, it's worked for us. And the thing about that is on that play is people understand where it goes to Yemla, that back to next leg, then Bo gets it. Clay Medvick is a huge distraction on that, who just had 2 catches, you know what I mean, the past 2 plays. He clears out the corner, and he almost takes that corner to the safety. And when we ran the play, Lucas pitches it to Nick Slake, and he kind of jogs out where you think, you know, I don't have to worry about him. He's already out of the play. Takes a few jog steps, and then he continues up the sideline. And that corner following Clay, you know what I mean, just cleared everything out, and he catches the ball for a touchdown. So, I mean, our kids executed the play to a T, executed that 2-minute drive to a T, and that's, you know what I mean, that's the stuff when it comes to crunch time that you want those kids to be able to play at that high level.
And the great thing about that play, which, by the way, you guys had so much guts to call that play, but the great thing about that play, if a quarterback or if someone gets tackled behind the sticks, you still have that final timeout to call. So it's
correct.
Yeah, it's you're not dead in the water if the play blows up, because you still have that final timeout to burn.
At that point, we were comfortable with, you know what I mean, Clay kicking the field goal. We were on the right hash, so I mean, I would think that's where his kind of, I think he does a little bit better on, but we would have felt comfortable kicking a field goal from there, and you know, I mean, you end up tying the game. But we also told Bo, if it's not there, just throw it out of bounds. Might be able to have, you know what I mean, one more shot for a play or whatever it may be. But like I said, between Lucas, the guys up front who protected for that long, because it does take a little bit of time to develop, to Nick Slake, when Nick Slake pitched it back to Bo, he kind of ended up chipping one of their D linemen who extended the play a little bit. Bo took a sidestep, but you know what I mean? In those kind of situations, to have our kids succeed, I mean, all game they continually fought through that game and kept fighting. And I mean, it was a hard battle. I mean, North Wayne is a great football team. North Wayne, you know what I mean, was a team that I definitely think pushed us to our limits. And our kids never gave up, never stopped believing. And really, that's what you ask of your kids right now. You know, we get to a huddle or we get to a practice, our kids are working their butts off, you know what I mean, just to try to continually win. And you know what I mean, I think the kids deserve it.
No 2 ways about that. It was just an unbelievable come-from-behind win. I got to ask, before we move on, how surprised were you? I mean, look, they've been squib kicking all night long, and maybe they're doing that because they don't have a kicker that can kick the ball deep, but how surprised were you that they squib kicked in this last one? Because, I mean, if I'm on the other side of the field, there is no way in hell I'm giving your offense to start the ball on the 41-yard line. That's just not going to happen. I'm going to take my chance and have my guy kick the ball as far as he humanly possibly can, and get your butt down there and get these guys stopped no later than the 35-yard line. How surprised were you that they squib kicked again, Coach?
Well, in the film that we had and the research that we ended up doing, you know what I mean, they've done that all year, and they've gotten extra possession. I mean, they kicked. That was nothing different that they've done all year. I mean, they got an onside kick on us. He got a great bounced over our front lineman's head, and we didn't have a chance to go up and get it or to end up trying to get it. I mean, they've gotten many extra possessions by doing that all year long. To tell you the truth, our kickoff return team, I mean, for this week was actually our hands team, but just spread out, you know what I mean, a little bit more. They've done that all year, and that's something. So when they did end up getting in that situation, even with the kids, we had our deep returners at the 25-yard line. So even if they would have, I would think if they would have been able to kick it deep, they would have. But our guys that were our deep returners were at the 25. So I knew we were going to get the ball, even if they kicked it deep at that point. We were going to get the ball at the 35 or 40, just because, you know what I mean, of our returners and the stuff that we've gone over. I felt confidence in them. We at least got it to the 35. So whether we got it 35, 40, whether they kicked it deep and didn't get down there in time, because it's not like it was a high pooch. I mean, that kid has squib kicked it all year long. So in this situation, we felt comfortable in getting the ball in the 35, 40. So the surprise, I don't think it was a surprise. I think that's why they do it, because they don't have a kicker.
Well, look, I mean, when you give Springfield and Bo Brungard and that high-octane offense about half the field to work with, I mean, that's the equivalent of inviting a fox into a hen house. Damage is going to be done. You just don't know how much damage.
Well, I agree between Bo's decisions and our line protecting, and I still think, you know what I mean, trying to stop Bo is you know what I mean, is a task, you know what I mean, it's a tall task, you know what I mean, just asking that. But when you put the skill kids that we have around him, I just feel that we might have a one-up on teams. And I look how we're trying to stop Fort Fry now, and you really get caught up into it like, well, I hope they can't stop us. So, I mean, our kids got to understand the process and believe in what goes on defensively, because right now every team's good. It's not like everybody keeps saying, well, how good's Fort? I mean, at this point, when you're in the top four, every team, you know what I mean, is a good football team. So we just got to make sure that we play our game, and you know, we can't turn the ball over, and play great special teams, and our defense has to run to the ball and still play our gaps and have our eyes on our keys. So all those little things, it just kind of ends up, you know, magnifying everything else.
Coach Sean Guerrero from the Springfield Tigers joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Sean, in this COVID year of 2020, the OHSAA playoffs have been anything but normal. You know, the number one seed has been able to have home field advantage throughout the regional championship, which is great, being that you guys were able to win the regional title in front of your home folks. Now, the bad news to all of this is you guys have not had a road game in about 4 weeks. And now you guys are going to be going on the road for the first time in quite some time, as you take a 2+ hour bus ride down I-77, across I-70 to the city of Zanesville, between I-70 and Columbus, to take on Beverly Fort Fry. Now, Beverly Fort Fry is the same thing. I mean, they're also going to be experiencing the same thing. But how concerned are you with the fact that you guys are going to be doing something that you haven't done in the last 4+ weeks?
I really don't think that's going to affect our team. It's the things that most of our kids, you know what I mean, went through this last year, so that they understand. And our kids, I'm very routine oriented. I mean, our kids are going to know, hey, when we get off the bus, we're going to go straight to a flex. We're going to move around. We're going to get there a little bit early to get them off the bus, be able to relax, but move their muscles. If they want to go on the field, we'll give them, you know what I mean, 20 minutes or something to run around a little bit. Our kids, I think, you know, I mean, with the experience that we have from last year, we're going to have to go back to that, because it's just not. I mean, it's not ordinary. It's not something that we've done, and even since we did this last year. But even I think our kids are up to the challenge. I don't, with all and for everything that's happened this year, and to win the regional championship, I mean, that's all fun, but I still don't think our kids are satisfied.
And that's a good thing. I mean, look, I mean, you're 2 wins away from finally getting the satisfaction that you guys were clearly looking to get last year, going to the state championship game. And I love the fact that these kids are still playing with an unsatisfactory type of feel, and they're not going to be satisfied until you guys are hoisting a state championship. I mean, that just tells me the fire's burning, and you guys aren't about to let okay, we haven't been on the road for 4 weeks. We're not going to let this affect us. The journey is going to be for us to win this game no matter what, go to the state title game, win that game no matter what, and then let's celebrate.
That sounds like a great game plan to me. Easier said than done, but I mean we just got to make sure we take one play. You know what I mean? One game at a time, one play at a time, and what we're doing. Don't get too caught up and go out. Like I said, just play Tiger football.
Well, and listen, I mean, there's obviously they're going to have their hands full trying to stop your offense, but when you flip the switch. Beverly Fort Fry runs an old school type of an offense. They're running the wing T, and very few schools in the state of Ohio run a wing T and run it to the way Beverly Fort Fry is able to run it. How are you guys able to imitate that with your scout team or with the defense in practice?
Well, for what we ended up doing a little bit different with our younger kids, and we met with them earlier this week, and our older kids were actually listening, and I got the younger kids, and we watched some film on. Okay, and we kind of ended up bringing those young kids in, and hey, this is where you're at, this is where you're at, this is what they do. And I really do, blocking lines, it's up front, it's not a lot different from what we end up doing because they're going to run power counter, jet sweep, trap, belly. They're going to do all the kind of things, but they just have it in that, obviously with the two wings and the fullback set. So scheme-wise for our linemen, it was the same. We just had to get our skill kids going, and we worked on it. Our kids went out a little bit earlier and ran through stuff before our older kids, got out there. So we kind of ended up practicing, for that a little bit, just to get them out and kind of realize it. And those are the kids that really, when you end up trying to, I know our kids on Friday night get all the credit, but those kids on scout team do a great job for us. And people talk about building a program, and those are the kids that have it. Right now, those kids are battling, every day against one of the better teams in Division VI right now. So that's how we talk about getting better as a program. And it'll be your turn next year. You'll have an opportunity next year. But right now, we've gotten a couple extra weeks of practice, and those kids are getting better every day, going against our starters right now. So, that to me was a huge bonus for us last year in getting those 5 extra weeks of practice. And here we are again where our younger kids are getting a ton more reps that they really wouldn't have.
Yeah, and getting reps is a heck of a lot more important right now than an off-season weightlifting program, because the only way a team is going to get better is by continually getting the reps. And this is why teams that are making deep playoff runs, they're there year after year after year, because they get all of those extra weeks of preparation and all those extra weeks of reps.
I agree with you, but our scout team, again, this week has done a great job. So I feel very confident in what our kids are going into. Now, obviously, we talk to our kids and making sure defensively that we just got to read our keys. For what we're doing. When our safeties or our corners or our outside linebackers, they can't expect to stop the trap and belly. We got to make sure they're doing their own job and stopping jet sweep. So you can't get caught up with everything that's going on. Are they going to move the ball on us? Yeah, they'll move the ball on us. You know what I mean? Just like on offense, we're probably going to have negative plays. But we just got to make sure that we forget about that last play and move on to the next one. And that will be a key for us. Just to make sure that we have a short memory, because we just got to make sure we're disciplined enough. We've got to make sure we have our eyes on our keys. And, if we can believe in what we're doing and believe in the process, hopefully we'll come out a winner, come Saturday.
Coach, how important is it on defense when you're going up against an exotic format or an exotic style of play like the old school wing T? How important is it for the defensive players to trust the other 10 guys on the field and play assignment sound football?
You have to, and we talked about this, if those kids get out there and they try to see everything, if they're going to try, like our line, but we talked about it, they got to read their key. If they try to see everything, they're actually going to see nothing, because you're going to see guys crossing and moving and guards pulling, and they do a lot of false key stuff. So if we're not disciplined with our eyes, it'll be a tough game for us. If we're disciplined with our eyes, like I said, I feel like we're going to put ourselves in a good chance, you know what I mean, to end up stopping and winning this one. But if we don't trust the guys next to us and trust the guys that they're not going to do their job, then it'll be a tall task for us come Saturday.
And the same thing with the coaching staff, and you're blessed. Sean, you're blessed with an amazing coaching staff. One of the reasons why the success of the program continues to burn brightly. Give a shout-out to your assistant coaches because Lord knows they've earned it this year, brother.
Oh, my gosh, for the past 2 years, and you know what I mean, I put my staff up against anybody. For the guys that I have had around me for this amount of time, and I still think that when you see people that end up bringing people in and out, even in the NFL, when they hire somebody next year, they're firing, you know what I mean, to keep a staff and to have us get better over the years and to have the contributions that I've had of guys coming onto my staff that are high-quality coaches. I know, I'm very fortunate to be in the position I am. And those guys do a great job in all phases of the game. And whatever we have to do to win a game, whether that's time or anything else, and those guys are there. And the best thing about us, and I say this all the time, we don't just work together. We're friends, and we do stuff together, and I definitely think that makes a difference.
One of the coolest things about all of this winning going on is you couldn't have picked a better community to have the winning going on. New Middletown and the entire area out there in the Springfield School District, an amazing group of people, the support that you guys have had in every single sport, not just football, but in every single sport. Those fans are some of the most rabid fans that I've come across, and it's Springfield and the school district is one of the many reasons why I absolutely love doing high school sports.
Well, for us that's one reason why we had the game here last week. You know, to have a regional championship on your home stadium, to be here with this crowd, and if you would have heard them last weekend with 300 some people that we had, it was nuts. The support that we get here, even in our school system, between whether it's the band, the cheerleaders, the elementary school and intermediate school, they're making signs, and the cafeteria work. Just to be in the situation that we are, our school supports, and that's anything we end up doing. Our soccer team had a great season this year, and things. The basketball team, the baseball team, softball team. It's just a great place to be and a great place to work at.
Hey, Sean, best of luck to you tomorrow night as you take on Beverly Fort Fry, and hopefully another mission is accomplished, and hopefully, more importantly, another Monday of practice leading up to a state championship game. Good luck Saturday.
Hey, thank you so much, and hopefully I'll be talking to you next week.
Yeah, well, listen, I look forward to the conversation. Let's just put it that way. I love your guys' chances tomorrow night.
All right, thanks very much. I appreciate the time.
You got it. Sean Guerrero, the head football coach of the Springfield Tigers, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Should be a great game tomorrow night in Zanesville. And again, Zanesville, it's pretty easy to get to. It's going to take a little while, a little over 2 hours. You got to go down 77 South, a little bit past Cambridge, where 77 and 70 meet up, the intersection or the exit, if you will. And then you'll take 70 west, about 10, maybe 15 miles to Zanesville. The game's going to be at Zanesville High School. Springfield taking on Beverly Fort Fry. Should be a fun game. Beverly Fort Fry running a wing T style offense. That's back in the day. If I can do my old man voice. Hang on a second. Back in my day, we run a wing T format in 3 yards in a cloud of dust. The wing T it's difficult offense. It's a difficult offense if you don't see it very often. And one of the reasons why the wing T is very effective today is because, well, everyone's forgotten about it. Not many teams run the wing T offense, and if you get a team that runs that style of offense to perfection, you can get your hands full. You can certainly get your hands full. Now, on the flip side, good luck trying to stop this offense. Springfield's going to put up some points. And if Beverly Fort Fry gets into a track meet, I don't think they can beat them. I just don't. It'll be a great game, though. Tomorrow night, Zanesville High School, Springfield taking on Beverly Fort Fry. The winner of this game gets the winner of Columbus Grove and Coldwater. And that game would be played next Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock. Next Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock, a state championship in D6. All right, we'll take a timeout. Open up the phone lines. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. Back in a bit. Stick around. More to come.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plan still meets your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Rude. Michael relies on Rude, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because
I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a phone-in Friday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Ron Potesta with you. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. All right, earlier this morning, an unidentified Browns player tested positive for COVID-19. And the Browns right now have closed the facility down in Berea, and they're doing what is known as the contact tracing thing. So any other player that was near or closely in contact with this unidentified Browns player who tested positive for COVID, well, then they're not going to be playing on Sunday either. The Browns are supposed to be playing the Texans on Sunday afternoon at First Energy Stadium. Now, according to Mary Kay Cabot, who does a pretty nice job of covering the Browns for Cleveland.com, in her column or in her story, she is letting everyone know the game is still on, and the officials with the Browns and the National Football League are still quite confident that the game is going to be played on Sunday between the Browns and the Houston Texans. But again, Cleveland has an unidentified player testing positive for COVID-19 this morning, and now the Browns are going through the process of trying to figure out if anyone came into the high-risk contact with this particular player, because if they did, or if a player or players did, then that player or players would also be sitting on Sunday. They would not be available for the game on Sunday between the Browns and the Houston Texans. And again, according to Mary Kay Cabot from Cleveland.com, the game is still on, and the officials, both with the Browns and the National Football League, are quite confident that this game will, in fact, be played. So we'll see what happens, as right now trying to figure out who hung out with this unidentified player. All right, let's get to the phone lines, 330-886-0813. Emmanuel, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. What's going on, my brother?
How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing wonderful. Yourself?
Just come from the grocery store, and I remember I told you I bought that that air fryer.
Yeah.
I smoked up the house. The doggone the smoke detector went off. It was crazy. Then I just took the food out and put it in the oven, and it came out great. Right?
And let me ask you before you even start, because everyone's now going absolutely crazy, going to the market and getting whatever food and whatever other stuff is necessary. The one thing that I've just have not been able to wrap my head around, and Lord knows I got a huge head to have anything wrap around it, but that's neither here nor there. Did everyone start buying the joint out of toilet paper? Because I just don't understand that. I don't understand why everyone's suddenly going into the grocery store buying all the toilet paper out of business. This has nothing to do with toilet paper. I don't get this.
Well, I couldn't understand in the beginning when everybody started hoarding. I like cooking my turkey and a lot of my meat sometimes in an oven bag. You put it in that bag, put a little flour in there, and you throw it in there, and it comes out. I couldn't find any. I had to get Giant Eagle to order some for me.
Oh, Lord.
And now who would think that they would run out of those?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, seriously, that's a great point. But
I'm not gonna lie, Ron. When they showed up, about 20 of them. That's probably why they ran out. I got a couple of questions for you.
Shoot.
You think Tiger Woods will be on the leaderboard on Saturday and Sunday?
I think there's a pretty good chance he's on the leaderboard on Saturday. I don't know if he'll be on the leaderboard on Sunday. I mean, right now, and Tiger's not shooting until 2:30 this afternoon is when he goes off for the second round. I'll guarantee you right now, he is not going to. He's not going to finish his round, and I don't even think Jason Kochrack will finish his round. I think those guys are going to have to play the rest of their round early Saturday morning. But I mean, Tiger's only 4 shots back. You know, Dustin Johnson and he's got a little bit of company with Sung Jae Im. They're both 8 under par. So Tiger's only 4 shots back at 4 under. Tiger knows this course better than anybody. You know, he is the most prolific winner on this golf course. He knows the golf course better than anyone. If Tiger's going to win another major, it's going to be at Augusta. It won't be in the British Open or the U.S. Open or the PGA Championship. If Tiger Woods wins majors from here on out, it's only going to be done at Augusta because he knows Augusta better than anybody. So who knows? I mean, if he plays 4 solid rounds, Emmanuel, we might have lightning strike twice, and he gets to be a repeat champion this year.
Well, the Golden Bear, who I like to call the Great One, he said, you cannot win a tournament on Thursday and Friday, but you can lose the tournament on Thursday and Friday.
Absolutely.
I think Shambo didn't read that doggone book, but he says Saturday you get on the leaderboard and Sunday you go for the win. And it seems to me that's what Tiger's doing.
No, exactly. Look, you can't, just like in baseball, you cannot win your division in the month of April. You can lose your division in the month of April if you fall 10 games out of first place. You could put yourself in a really, really deep hole if you have a bad month. Well, it's equate the Masters or any major golf appearance or any golf appearance period with a baseball season. You can't win the championship in a first round. What you want to do is you want to be able to be above the cut line. You want to be in the money after Friday, and then moving day is Saturday. That's when you have your best round of golf for the first 3 rounds. You want to have that best round of golf on Saturday to get you into the contention for Sunday, and then let it all hang out on Sunday and finish the job. But the first 2 rounds. Look, the first 2 rounds, you want to stay in contention, but that just because you're on the top of the leaderboard the first 2 rounds, that's not going to give you carte blanche to win the championship. You got to do that 4 consecutive rounds.
Yeah, but Tiger's looking pretty good. I expected Phil to play a little bit better than what he did. But, this might be a win for Tiger. It just might be.
Well, Mickelson's not doing bad. I mean, he shot 4 under as well. Now he's 3 under. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. He was 3 under after the first round. He was 4 under. I think he gave a shot up early this morning when he finished his first round. He's on the course 12 holes in. He's 3 under for the tournament. So he's in pretty good shape. I mean, he probably needs to get to about 4 or 5 under to be in really good shape. But again, as long as you are above the cut line and you're playing golf and you're 4 or 5 shots back going into Saturday, you still have a shot.
Well, you're going to get a nice paycheck. Now, I was listening to you talk, right? And I'm like, you almost make me feel like a dinosaur. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago when Austin Town Fitch was running that doggone double wing. And then I can remember before McDonald's opened up their office, they would run it sometimes.
Absolutely, they were. Both of them were running the wing tee. And that was a staple. Both McDonald and Austin Town Fitch ran the wing tee. And unfortunately, in this spread them outs and let the athletes take over type of game that football has become, and it's now a pass happy league. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you have a talented quarterback that can put a ball in a very tight window. You want to use that. You want to use that talent on the high school level if you've got someone that good. So the spread out game, the no huddle offenses, that stuff, it's starting to become more prevalent. And now teams that are running the wing tee. About 20 years ago, it started making the change. Now teams that are running the wing tee, they're the dinosaurs. But here's the thing. If you run a wing tee and you run this offense damn near close to perfection, you're going to score a lot of points for the simple reason that there aren't a lot of teams in the state of Ohio that run the wing T. So you don't really spend an awful lot of time defending the wing T.
Well, we played against it. And the thing about it is, a lot of defenses are very, very aggressive. You cannot be aggressive against that wing T, because I believe this. I believe if you look at it, that jet sweep was just part of the wing T. If you don't stay home, if you don't read your keys, and you chase something you're not supposed to chase, you're going to give up a big play.
Oh, no question about that. And when I made the comment with Coach Guerrero, and you know this, being on the defense when you were in high school, Emmanuel, you got to trust the other 10 guys. You got to trust your teammates, because if you don't and you try to do too much, then you're not going to accomplish anything. Because if you're not in your own lane and you're too busy freelancing, trying to do too much, then you're going to be irrelevant on the team.
You better believe it. And, I like talking a lot of sports with you, but this past weekend, I think there were some statement wins. And last night was a statement win, too. With the way the Saints beat Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay will not win a division. They're 2 games back of the Saints. That game, I think Tampa Bay really, truly needed that game. And last night, the Tennessee losing, that really hurt a whole bunch of people. I think it hurt the Cleveland Browns. I think it helped Miami. I think it helped the Raiders, because I don't even know if Tennessee is going to win that division. What do you think?
Well, Indianapolis is a really good football team. And the fact the Browns beat them earlier in the season, that tells me all I need to know about how good the Browns season has been. Yes, okay, they lose, or they've gotten blown out by the Steelers. They've gotten blown out by the Baltimore Ravens. Completely get that. Completely get that. However, you get a victory over a really good team like the Indianapolis Colts. You're on to something. Now, here's the thing: the Browns get an opportunity to play Tennessee on December the 6th in Nashville. That game now has some magnificently large implications, because look, you're trying to get a wild card. Those head-to-head matchups are really, really important. If you're a Browns fan, you should have been hoping and praying that Tennessee knocked out Indianapolis last night, because then Tennessee has the inside track for the divisional crown. Indianapolis is down to the wild card spot. There's no way in hell Cleveland's winning the AFC North. That's just not going to happen. So they got to rely on the wild card. Well, if Indianapolis were a wild card team, Cleveland can sit back and go, well, if there's a tie between us and the Colts, we got them because we beat them head to head. So if you were a Browns fan, you should have been rooting for the Tennessee Titans last night. The fact that Indianapolis curb stomped their ass in Nashville, now Cleveland has to beat Tennessee to have that leg up that they did over Indianapolis prior to last night's game.
Well, I'm watching the game last night. Browns open on the sidelines, and Tannehill drops a dime on him. And he bobbles it and drops it. That was a touchdown run. I think that would have changed the game.
Well, look, Tennessee's still a good team. I mean, they beat the snot out of my Bills. I mean, they're a good team. They're still a quality team. Stuff didn't go right for them last night, and Indianapolis took full advantage of it. And truth be told, that game should have probably been a 20-plus beatdown, because Indianapolis didn't do a whole lot. Despite going up and down the field at will in the first half, they didn't score very many points. They left a crap load of points on the field in the first half. They could have really blown out Tennessee last night.
I was really disappointed in their red zone play. They just, I don't know. It just seemed like the call. I never can get past the fact you have 6 inches to go, a foot to go. Why do you line somebody up 7 yards away from the line of scrimmage, and that's the quarterback? He has to catch the ball and hand it off to somebody.
Yeah, I never
got that.
I don't get it either. I mean, the whole head start thing, you get someone like Travis Henry who's really, really tough to tackle in open space when he gets ahead of steam. Maybe that's one of the things. But no, I'm with you. I mean, put the quarterback behind or underneath the center, get the running back about a yard or two behind the quarterback, and let's do some smash mouth football.
And yeah, well, we talk about a lot of things, but now what's the deal? I really thought Lindor was going to show up better in the MVP voting, and I didn't get that.
No, he had a bad year. He had a bad year for Lindor. That's there's no. I'm not even surprised that he didn't show up at all because for the first third or half or 2/3 of the season, Lindor just wasn't getting it done because. He's not able to hit in the 3-hole. He's more of a leadoff hitter, and that was painfully obvious the way he struggled as a 3-hole hitter. And then when they put him back in the leadoff spot, he kind of got a whole lot better. But now Ramirez, and I think there's a lot of people in Cleveland that are crying that Ramirez got hosed in the MVP race. That couldn't be further from the truth. Abreu deserved that award. No two ways about it. Abreu had a better year than Jose Ramirez, and he deserved the award. And I'm as big an Indians fan as anyone, but I'll be the first to admit that Jose Abreu deserved the award much more than Jose Ramirez did.
Well, what do the Indians do going forward?
Well, I mean, it's pretty clear that they're wanting to save some money. I mean, they told Brad Hand that they weren't going to re-sign him, that they were going to give him his $1 million if nobody picked him up because the Indians made the very bizarre decision of putting him on waivers in the hopes that someone would have picked him up, and nobody did, so the Indians had to pay him $1 million. They already told Santana, we're not re-signing you, or we're not taking the option, so here's $1 million and you can be a free agent. And at the end of the day, they got to trade Lindor because they're not going to be able to sign him to a long-term deal. And what they get for Lindor is essentially going to tell me whether or not this team is still capable of being a contender for a postseason berth. And with the way Minnesota is playing, with the way the White Sox have been built, even though they hired a grade A, I can't even say what I want to say with Tony La Russa.
I don't think he's going to take the job. I don't think he's going to get the job.
Well, I mean, he got the job, but now that all of this stuff has come out with him getting picked up for another DUI, and he clearly has a drinking problem, I don't know if the White Sox are going to stand by Tony La Russa. I thought it was a stupid decision to begin with because Tony La Russa, I mean, he's so old he was the server at Christ's Last Supper. I mean, the dude is old. I'm talking. If he were a dinosaur, someone would have looked and said, "Oh, I think we've got a archaeological breakthrough here." I'm just saying the dude's old. So, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with him. But the White Sox, they're a great team. I mean, they're a great young team, and they're only going to get better. Detroit, the talent that they have from Double-A up is insanely good, and it's only getting better. And Kansas City's about 2 years away from making their presence felt. So this is no longer the easy, winnable division that the Indians have had in the last 5 years. Now you got plenty of company, and now the Indians are a middle-of-the-pack team. And what they get for Lindor, what kind of package they get back for Lindor is going to tell me where the Indians are in terms of trying to win another divisional crown or get into the playoffs via a wild card, because Lord knows they have the pitching to do this. It's now, what do you get back for Lindor? What kind of talent do you get back for Lindor? How many of these kids are major league ready? And how many of these kids are going to be able to flip the switch and put up some really good numbers, because they're going to need to for your team to be a playoff contender?
Well, I think. Well, I want your opinion on this. I think Reyes has a team-friendly contract with the Indians. What do you think?
Well, Ramirez is. Yeah, I mean, he's set. He's
got. Reyes, the big guy.
Oh, Franmil Reyes has one too. Absolutely. No, there's a lot of young kids that have team-friendly deals because they're not going to arbitration anytime soon. Now, in Jose Ramirez's case, he signed a deal through 2023 with an option for 2024. So Ramirez isn't going anywhere. Now, I preface all of that by saying, hey, look, if the Indians feel that window has been shut, then it wouldn't surprise me, and I know this is going to piss off some Indians fans, and boy, they'd be really mad at the organization if they did this, but if the Indians felt that there is no path to a championship in the next 4 years because of the fact that Minnesota and Chicago have gotten demonstrably better, Detroit and Kansas City are very close to being a solid team, Cleveland may, and I don't think they will, but there is a chance that they might just go full-blown, we're going to do a rebuild, and we're going to get rid of every single player that has talent and that has marketability, and we're just going to stock the hell out of our minor league shelves in hopes that by 2025 or 2026, we're going to have that window for 5 years wide open again.
I'm a Yankees fan, and that would piss me off because you can't do that with a pitching staff that the Indians have.
And that's the reason why I don't think they will. I mean, and let me just say, I don't think they're going to do that. But if they were to do that, think about this. Shane Bieber unanimously won the American League Cy Young Award. He is the best pitcher in Major League Baseball right now. There is nobody that is his equal. He is the best pitcher right now in Major League Baseball.
Who won it in the other league?
Trevor Bauer did.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Indians. Go ahead.
Exactly. So, again, do you think the market would be pretty big for a Shane Bieber? I mean, and let me ask you. I mean, you're a Yankee fan. It's no secret. After Garrett Cole, your starting rotation is Shane Bieber. If you met the Indians' price, oh my goodness, Shane Bieber in a Yankee uniform right next to Garrett Cole. That's probably the best 1-2 punch.
I would think so.
And now you can move some of those youngsters down to Severino will be back, so he would be probably the best 3 in Major League Baseball, and then you have Montgomery and a couple of the youngsters battling it out for the back of the rotation.
I hope we keep Happ. I kind of like him. I hope we keep him. He had a bad season last year, but he's a decent pitcher.
He's not bad. He's not bad, but he's a guy that should probably be your 5th starter and not the 2nd or 3rd starter. So. But but again, I mean, if the Indians were to decide to do that, oh my God, you could rebuild your farm system if you dealt Bieber, Ramirez, and a couple of other kids that have market value like Franmil Reyes. Now, obviously, you wouldn't get nearly as much for Franmil Reyes as you would for Jose Ramirez or Shane Bieber. But if you and again, I wouldn't do this. I personally would not do this because the pitching staff is good enough to where the Indians can be a contender. But if the Indians decided that they need to start all over again, the talent that they could get just by trading Bieber, Ramirez, and Lindor alone, their farm system would be the envy of everyone's farm system in Major League Baseball if they were to trade these 3 guys.
If that happened and I was an Indians season ticket holder, I'd turn my tickets in. But you know what else is strange? This is the last thing I'm going to skip to. You know what else is strange? Mason Rudolph and Josh Dobbs are the same age.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
I mean, Dobbs been around for 4 years and Mason 3. And it seems like Dobbs been there forever. They're both 25 years old.
Yeah, they're young kids. They're young kids. Let me give you a name that, and as a fan of the Browns, I mean, I'm not my favorite team, but the team that I follow the most in the AFC North are the Browns. If Pittsburgh were to get this guy, Browns Nation should be petrified. And let me throw the name out, Sam Darnold. Don't be a bit surprised if the Steelers make a play for Sam Darnold. And I'm going to tell you right now, Sam Darnold is still a damn good quarterback. He has nothing, and I do mean nothing, around him with the New York Jets. You imagine putting Darnold in a situation where he actually has talent, where he actually has a line that can protect him, where he actually has a running back that he can hand the ball off to that's halfway decent and not a half a step or a full step slower like Le'Veon Bell, and wide receivers that can A, catch the ball, B, be a long threat. I mean, the only receiver that he has is Anderson, and he's not exactly reliable. You put Sam Darnold in Pittsburgh. If Ben were to go down with an injury, I'm not saying you wouldn't skip a beat, because you would, but Sam Darnold in a Steelers uniform with all that talent around him, Sam Darnold would, oh God, would he be unbelievable in a Steeler uniform.
Well, I have to say this, and I'm going to use an example. I know people say I'm crazy, and I tell people that Tim Couch was not as bad as quarterback as people said he was.
No, he wasn't.
He just got beat up, and I think Sam Darnold has been beat up so bad, I think he's gun-shy, man.
He isn't yet, but you can see where he could be, and I think that this is. I mean, he's only in his third year. And it took.
He's taking a beating.
No, there's no question.
He's taking a beating.
No question about that. He is, and he's starting to look like Couch did in year 4, where Couch was getting phantom sacked, where he heard the footsteps and he would just fall without anyone anywhere close to him. That's the phantom sack, and Darnold is starting to look a little bit like that. Get him out of New York and get him into a backup role, preferably if you're a Steeler fan, you get your hands on this guy. Oh God, you don't have to.
He's better than Dobbs.
He's better than Dobbs. He's better than Mason Rudolph, and he's better he's better than about 2/3 of the quarterbacks in the National Football League right now. And again, the only reason why we're not seeing it is because he has absolutely nothing around him, and the Jets are a friggin' train wreck.
Yeah, well, I have to say this. I have to say good luck to the Highland Tigers soccer team going back to the championship for the second year, and I have to say good luck to Springfield. You know, them Tigers are going to roar, and and I got to say good luck to JFK because I want them Eagles to fly, and I think all 3 of them and all the teams that went deep in the playoffs and from this area, they did the area proud, and for all those young men and ladies, volleyball too. Thanks a lot for making us look good, and we love you.
Well,
you have a great weekend, Ryan.
You can't forget about Mooney. They're in a state championship in boys soccer too.
I was trying. Have a good weekend, man. Later, dude.
See ya. 330-886-0813. I've spoken like a true Warren Western Reserve guy. I believe Emmanuel was playing in the 70s. Back when Mooney and Warren Western Reserve used to have some hellacious battles back in the day. Yeah, that was when football. Woo, man! So when this, and again, I hate aging myself, but I can remember the incredible rivalry that was Warren Western Reserve. Those that on the west side of Warren went to school at Warren Western Reserve. Those on the east side of Warren went to school at Warren Harding. And the Battle of Warren was, oh, God, it was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Rob Schmidt and I used to work for WRRO up in Warren. And prior to the 2 teams combining into one, Rob used to call the Warren Western Reserve Warren Harding matchup. Toward the tail end of that great rivalry. Well, also in that rivalry, and this goes back to the old Steel Valley Conference days, Warren Western Reserve and Cardinal Mooney played in some of the best state playoff football games you're ever going to want to see. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Warren Western Reserve and Cardinal Mooney played in one of the first state championships, and the game was played at the old Akron Rubber Bowl. Now, this was the football field for the University of Akron prior to Infocision Stadium. An old Rubber Bowl used to seat a little over 30,000. They had close to 30,000 for the Mooney Warren Western Reserve game. It was unbelievable. And I remember as a kid finding one of the stations. We were already moved in Leetonia, which is a haul from Warren. It's about a 45, 50-minute drive up Route 11. And still a haul from Cardinal Mooney, about a 20, 25-minute trip. One of the stations broadcast the game, and I remember it was early December when they had the state championship game, late November, early December, and I can remember listening as a kid, listening to that game. Mooney beat them, I think, 14-3, but there were close to 30,000 people at the Rubber Bowl for a high school game. I mean, it was absolutely insane. I mean, it was absolutely insane. So yeah, it's back in the day in the old Steel Valley Conference. Now back then, Mooney was still in the City Series because you had Rayen, North, South, Wilson, and Cheney, and East. Those were the 6 high schools, 6 city high schools in the city of Youngstown. This was back when Youngstown had a population a little over 100,000 people. It's now half that. This was well before Black Monday, and well before the mass exodus of people once the sheet and tube and all of the steel mills in Youngstown were shut down in the late 70s, early 80s. Long before that. Man. City of Youngstown, and again, you still, I mean, you have Cheney and you have East right now. Well, back then, you also had North High School, Wilson High School, Rayen High School, and South High School. Now, my parents grew up in the Youngstown area. My father graduated from South High School in, I won't say the year. And my mother graduated from Woodrow Wilson High School. Woodrow Wilson High School was on the south end of Youngstown. And they butted up against Boardman, and they butted up against South. So Wilson and South had that really nice rivalry. Wilson and Boardman had a pretty nice get together as well, and obviously Cardinal Mooney and Wilson, Cardinal Mooney and South, Cardinal Mooney and Boardman. They all, I mean, everyone was basically within 5 miles of each other because all four. Well, Mooney basically got kids from the Boardman area across 224 in that area. That's where Mooney got their kids. And then Ursuline got their kids on the east end and the northern end of Mooney went south and east, and Ursuline went north and west. That's how this was back in the day. And Mooney had a great rivalry with Wilson, with Boardman, and with South because those were essentially the 3 schools, along with Canfield and Poland, but those were the 3 schools that Mooney essentially got some of their kids from. And Ursuline got some of their kids from East and Rayen and Cheney and Austintown Fitch. So you had a pretty good rivalry. Cheney and Rayen had a great rivalry. Rayen and East, Cheney and Fitch, and when they were both the same size, oh Lord, Cheney and Fitch used to have a West Side brawl, and it used to be week 1 of the season. They would play week number 1, and you'd just have a Donnybrook of a game because these 2 schools couldn't stand each other. They were both on the west end, Austintown in the suburbs, Cheney in the Youngstown City School District, and these 2 would go after each other, and just some great football back in the day. Well, again, times have changed, and mainly because the city of Youngstown is half the population of what it was back in the day. But, again, when I was a kid and all the way through school, I think North dissolved my senior year. Either my junior or my senior year, North High dissolved. They were the first. But back in the day, the City Series had 8 teams. They had 8 teams, 6 public schools, and then the 2 parochial schools. So you had North High School, South High School, East High School, Rayen, Cheney, and Woodrow Wilson. And then you had the parochial schools, Cardinal Mooney and Ursuline. And that was an 8-team City Series. And I mean to tell you, the City Series games were just, woof, man, they were good. They were really, intense. South High used to have football stadium at South High. And obviously, Rayen Stadium was used, and I'm so glad that they've refurbished the old Rayen Stadium and have turned it into the home field for Cheney as well as East. But South High used to have their football facility, and Rayen Stadium used to have their facility. Oh man, the wars between these schools, legendary, absolutely legendary, and people that lived in Youngstown. That grew up in Youngstown in the late 50s, 60s, and 70s. Oh, they can attest. The City Series back in the day. You know, when I grew up as a teenager, Mooney and Ursuline had already gone past the City Series because the City Series was starting to erode. North had already, my junior or senior year, North was gone, and they were down to 5 schools. And I think the next school that went was either South or Wilson was the next school that was taken down, and then we went all the way to Cheney and East, and then Cheney became, I don't know, about 10 years ago, Cheney became an arts school, and that's when East became the only city school in the entire city, which now was half the population than it was from back in the 70s. And prior to the 70s, believe it or not, Youngstown had a population of 150,000 at one point. I mean, the area was, oh my God, the city was ridiculously big. The suburbs weren't as big. The city was ridiculously big. And there was all kinds of stuff happening. And again, when Black Monday came around, unfortunately, the jobs in the steel mill left, and unfortunately, then the people started leaving, and that's where we are now. With you have Cheney, you have East, you have Mooney, and you have Ursuline, and that is right now the City Series. But I'm going to tell you, back in the day, late '60s. Now, when I was a kid growing up in the '70s, you still had. The City Series was alive and well, and then Mooney and Ursuline went to join the Steel Valley Conference with the suburban schools, Boardman and Fitch, and Mooney and Ursuline, and the 2 Warren schools jumped in, Warren Western Reserve and Warren Harding. And you want to talk about any sport, that old Steel Valley was good. God, was that good stuff. And I remember going to the field house as a teenager watching what would have been now Division I high school basketball tournament. But back in the day, we had three classifications. You had AAA, AA, and Class A. And the AAA tournaments were held at Struthers Fieldhouse because, again, you got to remember, this was a while back when everyone was still living in the Youngstown area, and the 3-county population was close to 500,000 people. I mean, there were a lot of people in the 3-county area back in the day. So you had Boardman, Fitch, Mooney, Ursuline, Harding, Reserve, plus you had some schools that were every bit the size of these schools in Hubbard, Struthers, Niles, Cheney, Wilson. You wound up with about 12 or 13 teams in the AAA tournament. At one point, Salem was in the AAA tournament. At one point, the Quakers were big enough to hang with those large schools. And the AAA tournament was at the field house, and the Class A tournament was at the field house as well. And, you know, when we moved to Leetonia, obviously Leetonia, Western Reserve, McDonald, Sebring, Lisbon, Southern, United, Columbiana, Crestview, and you had about 13, 14 teams, and then the whole area would just have their own district tournaments. And it was an absolute blast. Everything was in one location. You had the Class A and the Class AAA tournaments held at the Struthers Fieldhouse, and the AA tournaments were in Salem. And you would have 1, 2, sometimes 3 games a night at the old Fieldhouse, or the iconic Fieldhouse, and every game would be played in that facility if you were in Class A or Class AAA, all the way up in AAA ball to the district championship game. For whatever reason, I still don't understand this to this day, the sectional tournaments were held at the Fieldhouse in Class A ball. Once you were crowned a sectional champion, and there were 2 teams from the area that were crowned sectional champions, they would undoubtedly play each other in the district semifinal, but the district would be held at the Canton Fieldhouse, where the regional tournaments are now being held. So I remember, now this was after I graduated from high school, one of only 3 times where Leetonia has gone to a district tournament. In 1985-86 season, Leetonia wins a sectional title, their first ever sectional title, which mind-numbing with all the talent that Leetonia had, neither here nor there. First sectional title won. Jeff Harper hit a buzzer beater against Southern, put Leetonia into the district semifinals. So we're playing Columbiana. Now, why in God's name we're playing Columbiana at the Canton Fieldhouse? It was absurd. And they finally figured out, this is kind of a dumb idea, having these 2 teams go an hour to settle this when you can just play the district semifinals at the Fieldhouse. So that's what they decided to do, I think, 2 or 3 years later. But anyway, Leetonia plays their one and only game at the Canton Fieldhouse. They lose to the Clippers by 1 or 2 points. Columbiana gets smoked by Sebring in the district championship game, and then Sebring goes to the regional tournament. Stop if you've heard that one before. Yeah, Rick Brook was amazing doing his thing with Sebring. So it was cool. I mean, it just you had a who's who in the Struthers tournament, and every night I'm hauling my ass up to the Fieldhouse watching basketball, whether it was Class A or Class AAA. You know, the assistant tournament director was the principal at Leetonia High School, and he would give me a pass. He'd give my folks a pass. All right, cool. Let's head up to the Fieldhouse. Nightly, we're going up to the Fieldhouse, and we're watching some great basketball. Man, what a time. What a great time. All right, 330-886-0813. Back in a bit. It is a Friday edition of Running Point.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at ArmstrongNeighborhood.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. Quinn Puskar, the birthday boy, is in the house. We're going to talk a little high school basketball because it is never too early to gab about some high school basketball. And Quinn is going to be busy in a very nice situation that you guys are going to be in for the next few years. Quinn is the JV coach over at Lisbon, and having seen the now freshman class a couple of times do a pretty nice tap dance on my Latonia program. You get some pretty darn good talent coming into the Lisbon high school basketball program.
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. It's a very good group, and you got a front row seat basically to see it. They're very competitive.
Yes, they're very competitive. They're both all of those kids were very impressive in what they've done, and you and I have talked about this. There's not many kids in junior high basketball that I raised my eyebrows and said, oh, okay, this kid is special. Lisbon had a kid, graduated with me, so it's been a few years. Herb Seidner, who was an unbelievably gifted basketball player. And back in the day, you weren't really playing varsity basketball your freshman year, mainly because everyone had a freshman basketball program in the late 70s and early 80s. So Herb was a starter and played 3 years of varsity basketball for Lisbon. We had a kid, Jimmy Roller, who might have probably been the best junior high player I'd ever seen, but we didn't have basketball our 8th grade year because we were intramural because of our finances and the energy shortage that was going on at Latonia. So we were denied of our 8th grade school year. The Sifke kid had an opportunity to see him play 2 times against Latonia. Good Lord, can this kid play? He's someone that I think a lot of people in the YSN family, if you're going to see Lisbon play the next 4 years, you're going to be in for a treat.
Yeah, absolutely. Trevor's a great player for us, and we're excited to see how he develops moving forward. I mean, he's got really good talent. He can shoot the heck out of the ball, and it's one of those things like you never know how good he can actually be until he plays.
I had an opportunity years ago, prior to moving back home. I mean, you live in a couple of states that's known more for basketball than anything else. Tennessee is great basketball. Their high school basketball is, it's not on par with Kentucky or Indiana, but it's darn close. I was in Illinois the last few years before I moved back home. Illinois had some really good basketball as well, especially in the Chicago area. I moved back home. One of the first things that I did was to go to a couple of basketball games, and this is about 7 years, maybe 8 years. And when I saw basketball for the first time, and for that first year, I was so disappointed in that basketball fell off the map in this area, because you got to remember in the heyday of Youngstown and in the heyday of our 3-county area, we would have teams that would make a trip to Columbus every now and then. We had teams that won a state championship in basketball every now and then. The pickings have been slim, but the good news is, in the last few years, the basketball has improved dramatically in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. Just last year we had Cheney was making a run of their own. The smaller schools get a better chance at it, I feel like, just because they're more competitive with the divisions that they play in. And Cheney gets in that situation where they have to play like St. V's, stuff like that. And that's always more difficult when you go against those teams.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they were never able to get that opportunity. COVID ruined the season, and Cheney was one of the 16 teams that I guess you'll never know if you would have won a state championship or not. But the good news is a lot of those kids are coming back for their senior and a couple of them their junior year. So Cheney's going to be an awful lot of fun to watch, as is some of the other teams that were really good last year, and they lose some kids, but they'll be good again this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see why Cheney couldn't repeat, honestly. I thought they had a good shot going into that game, too, last year, and unfortunately it didn't get to play, but I thought they had a good shot at it.
Yeah, and you go to Division 1, 2, 3, and 4. I mean, look, we don't have a lot of Division 1 programs, but we do have a couple of nice Division 1 teams. Boardman at the top of the list. Boardman and Fitch. Fitch had not as good as Boardman basketball-wise the last couple of years, but Fitch has a really good coaching staff, and I think that Coach Beanie's going to get some talent there, and Boardman is starting to develop a program, and when you develop a program, then now you can just go year in, year out. We're going to be a lot of fun to watch, and they're starting to develop that program.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, Fitch has just immense talent no matter what they do this year so far. I mean, football showed it. Last year they showed potential in basketball, and they returned, I think, almost everybody, if not everybody. So I think they can make some noise. And like you said, I mean, it's just across the board. It's talent, but it's just you got to develop the program and see where it goes from there.
You know, in D2, some of the programs, I mean, obviously Cheney's going to be a team that's going to be very difficult to beat, but Poland, year in, year out, Coach Grisdale does an amazing job down there. That's turned into a really good program. Canfield, they've got an unbelievable program as well. The two parochial schools, Mooney fell on some hard times, but they got some good kids on the JV team from last year. And Ursuline, I love what Coach Keith does every year down there. He's one of the best X's and O's guys, and there's other teams that, knock on wood, we get to a D2 tournament in Boardman. We're going to have a lot of great talent to see. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, all the coaches in our area are doing a fantastic job. They're great coaches. They know what they're doing. They know how to build the programs. And like you said, Coach Guthrie, they're all good at X's and O's.
Yeah, most definitely. And again, Division 3, Division 4, some of the smaller schools. I mean, we talked with Sean Guerrero and the greatness of the Springfield football program. Well, they've got a pretty good basketball program as well. A lot of the football players will, once their season is over, and hopefully not for another couple of weeks, they'll quickly get into basketball mode, and their basketball season will be solid, as it always is. And some of the other schools, I look for Crestview to be pretty fun because they're not missing anybody from last year. They didn't have any seniors on their team, so like the football team, everyone comes back, and they're going to be fun to watch. Basketball has improved, and I think one of the reasons why it's improved is we're finally on board the AAU train.
Yeah, absolutely. It's taking off faster than I guess some would have expected in our area, and there's a lot of good talent. Obviously, I mean, the talent I can't speak enough of. There's talent all across the board, not only in boys but in girls too. It's just there's a lot of talent to be seen in AAU, and it's a different level of competition that really helps.
And you send those kids to the Akron-Canton area for the first time, and if you're outside of this area, and we're still a ways behind Canton and Akron and Cleveland, you send these kids out of our area and into a better basketball environment in Canton and Akron, You get an eyeful pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. We do a good job. Like I'm an AAU coach too. I coach the girls. Eric Bailey, who does a lot of stuff with us too, he's another girls coach for us. And there's a lot of boys coaches in our area that do AAU stuff too. And we try to travel as much as we can. We just go to all different places, whether it is Akron or Canton. We go to Cleveland, Pittsburgh, even up to Buffalo, up to where you're from, your area. But I mean, we travel a lot. We go to a lot of different things, and it's good to get the kids out of this area. Get to see a different level of basketball.
Absolutely. You go into the Pittsburgh area, and honest to God, you don't have to go very far inside PA because 5-iron from here is one of the best basketball factories in Western Pennsylvania in Blackhawk High School, which is literally just over the border on into Beaver County. Blackhawk High School, you talk about talent. Through the years, Blackhawk High School has been unbelievable with talent. And then if you're going across the border on 224, Newcastle is another school that has an insane amount of talent. So you don't have to go very far across the PA border to find some great basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I kind of group that in with our area. I mean, it's PA, but it's close enough. Like you said, it's a 5-iron. Maybe for you. For me, it's more of a driver, but nevertheless, it's...
Well, no, I mean, it's a driver. I mean, I'm trying to... For you, it'd be a 5-iron. For me, it's a driver. And I got to hope and pray that I hit something that bounces the ball into the PA.
No trees.
PA.
You can't have a tree for me. I'll find
no trees.
A tree. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good basketball that doesn't really get credit that it deserves just because it's smaller schools and lesser-known stuff. But the team atmosphere is a lot more prevalent at these smaller schools anyway.
As an AAU coach, what is some of the priorities that you're trying to teach the kids as we get closer to basketball season? I mean, AAU is normally in the summertime. What do you get your kids to work on during that summer?
I mean, naturally, you want to win games. I mean, that's first and foremost. You want to win games. But I think me and Eric Bailey, we do a good job of teaming up together, and we like to basically just build you as a player. We use more of our practice time to just kind of focus in on your skill level, get you better, ready to go for when you come back to your actual high school teams. And we do a good job of trying to basically use the games to work on the stuff that we practice and then just carry it over into your season and just keep progressing that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent in this area, and I think that basketball, when the area had all the population or half the population vacate the Mahoning Valley, I think basketball kind of vacated as well. I mean, football is we've always had a good footprint with football in this area. Baseball and softball has always had a good footprint in this area. Even though basketball, we had some great representation back in the day, we really never had a solid footprint, even though talent-wise we did. For whatever reason, there was a disconnect. And when this area lost half of its population, a lot of the basketball talent was gone as well. And I guess the priority with basketball wasn't nearly as much as it was, in my youth. And it's good to see now that basketball is starting to make a resurgence in this area because for the first time in quite a while, I think that we have more than enough talent to hang with some of the big boys in this area, in the outlying areas, Canton, Akron, Cleveland, over in Western Pennsylvania and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's coming back. I mean, we're getting into that stuff. Like you said, AAU's taking off, and because of that, you're getting more guys that are basketball-oriented. Before, it's always been, we play football. This is our area. Northeast Ohio, it's a football area. And then those football players carry into basketball and play basketball because it's something to do. You stay busy, and sometimes it gets you out of doing football activities in the winter, which, I mean, I'd be for it too. I can't fault that. But then once you start getting older and you start getting into junior year and you start getting those looks in football, like you're getting colleges want you. And then they're going to start talking to you and be like, hey, you got to just play football. So you start specializing into football and you kind of lose out on the basketball kids that way. But it's coming back slowly, but it's coming back, I think.
And I think one of the reasons why it's coming back is now the football coaches are realizing we got to have someone just more involved in just football. We got to have a multi-sport athlete because, surprise, surprise, and it took a while for these knuckleheads to figure it out. If a multi-sport athlete, hey, look, if you're playing basketball as a football player, you pretty much need basketball. If you don't have a wrestling program, which I think wrestling is even more of a help for you as a football player. But if you don't have a wrestling program, basketball is going to be huge because your cardio, so your endurance, number one. Number two, if you're a big and you have a post game, well, you want to be able to be strong from the hips down, so you're able to be able to make sure you're not being pulleyed around the block. So that's going to be helping your game. Your footwork is going to be helping enormously, especially if you're one of the big grunts up front. You got to have the footwork. So football coaches are now finally figuring out on the college end. Wait a second. It's not a bad thing to have a multi-sport athlete because now he's more rounded.
Absolutely. When I was in high school at Canfield, we had usually it was like our offensive and defensive linemen. They played wrestling or did wrestling, whatever the proper term is for that. And then our skilled positions, our DBs, our wideouts, quarterbacks, they all kind of ventured into basketball because it was more, I guess, not as the big boys. I guess I don't know how you want to explain it, but they would use it that way. And like you said, the footwork, they used it for conditioning and. They just use it because it was that team mentality that they wanted. They can't go without playing something or being a part of that team, which is huge.
Well, absolutely. And when I hear of kids that just only want to concentrate on one sport when they're in high school, I just cringe at that because, number one, you're putting all your eggs in a basket that may not develop into anything. But more importantly, in today's culture, college coaches want a multi-sport athlete, and you're just doing yourself a disservice if you're athletic to where you can make a difference on the basketball floor, the baseball diamond, the track and field, cross country, albeit cross country is same as football, but you're doing yourself a disservice if you're a one sport only high school athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like specialization that you don't want, I guess, unless you're getting those looks. Like unless you're already an offered kid and you're accepting a scholarship or something, then maybe I could understand it. But other than that, I mean, why not? Why not play? It's like you said, it gets you more well-rounded.
Talk about the talent level. I know you're in Lisbon. You guys, the last few years, I mean, well, since the Rateki class graduated, which was an unbelievably impressive senior class. Lisbon has been trying to get one of those classes again, and you might have stumbled onto one with the freshmen that are in now because they sure did some damage in the junior high level. But talk about the talent that you guys are getting and cultivating at Lisbon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got a great team. I mean, we're very spread out across the board. We got talent in all areas, and as a staff, we're very excited. Coach Huxell does a great job getting all of us amped up, ready to go for the season, and he's amped up even though he plays it cool and stuff like that. Like, he's excited, and I mean, we're excited to even just play. That's the biggest thing. We're excited to be in the gym and play and stuff like that, and we get to play in a great conference with a lot of great talent, great coaches, great teams, and all that stuff. But we got great seniors that are leaders for us. Blaine Brownfield, Ryan McCullough, Adam Spencer, Tyler Welsh, some football kids that are playing basketball and stuff like that and giving us great senior leadership. Like you said, the freshman classes, they're coming. They're excited and they're competitive. We're just really competitive as a group. We go at it every day in practice and make everybody better. I mean, they want to get better themselves.
Yeah, and that's the best part of it. When you have the kids going after the upperclassmen, and sooner or later they're going to make their mark, and that's when the program gets all kinds of fun. But the addition of Valley Christian, we all saw it and talked about the addition of Valley Christian for football was good. Now, listen, the real greatness of this addition is not going to be football. It's going to be basketball. Valley Christian is going to make the EOAC that much more difficult because Valley Christian has the makings of a really good program, and now that's going to force the Uniteds, the Southerns, the Letonias, the Lisbons, the Wellsvilles. They're going to all have to elevate their game to try to catch Valley Christian, and that's just going to make the league that much more fun.
Absolutely. It was a great league last year without Valley Christian.
Yeah, it was.
It was a competitive league top to bottom. Everybody played every game. It seemed like every day someone could beat somebody else in the conference. It never mattered. But adding Valley Christian, it's a great program. Dolph does a great job out there. Both, even on the girls' side, they're a great program. Especially in our boys, we've gotten the privilege to play them. We've played them a couple times over the past 3 years that I've been at Lisbon. And, it's a great game every time we play. They've been a part of our tip-off classic that we do, and we've played them regular season. And, it's a competitive game, and we love going at it, and they just add to our conference. It's one of those conferences that it's very competitive, and we love it.
Yeah, and the prospect of going to Youngstown once a year to play Valley Christian is going to be fun. And it's an eye-opener for the kids that, and I want to say this nicely, kids that did not grow up in the city, how they grew up in the rural areas that may not see a city. They go into Youngstown, and well, there's a little culture shock going from the country to Youngstown, and take it from someone who left Boardman to go to Letonia. A lot of culture shock in a good way, which there's nothing wrong with that. It'll be nice for the kids to have an opportunity to play in the city, and to also have a much tougher league. And I think that the programs that are getting better, and Letonia gets better very soon. I think that they, last year, even though they won like 3 or 4 games, they were within 5 points in 7 other games. Coach Dennis is starting to make inroads with a program, and the kids that I coached last year, they're going to be 8th graders this year, and I good Lord, when those kids get into high school, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think that Letonia is going to have a fun future, which will be at about the same time Lisbon's future is. So it'll make for some great basketball when the two schools meet 2 times, and hopefully we're still in the same league. So it's a good league. It's a solid league. And then you take a look at the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference. Springfield Sebring is an unbelievably great basketball program and a tradition. Western Reserve has had solid years. McDonald with Coach Francis Shelley is going to be unbelievable, as they always are. That's a great league.
Yeah, absolutely. It's competitive. They're very, I guess, gritty. Would be 40 games and be perfectly content with it. They're hard-nosed teams, and they're great coached teams all across the board. And then they added in that blue tier or something like that, I think it is, or the gray tier or whatever.
Yep.
Which was Crestview and LeBray and all that stuff, which is, just makes the conference even better.
Yeah, that's going to be a dynamite conference as well. Newton Falls, their football program, and look, a lot of schools are known for one or the other. Newton Falls is known for basketball. Yeah. And now it doesn't mean that their football program hasn't had some quality seasons. It's just their basketball program, year in, year out. Coach Roy is he nails it year in, year out. That's a solid basketball program. Liberty has had some fun years. Brookfield, Camel, Gerard's now in the NE8s. There's some good quality schools, and then next year, Garrettsville Garfield comes into play, and when the G-men come into play, that's going to be a lot of fun. We already saw a preview of it with the state playoff game between Crestview and Garrettsville Garfield in the quarterfinals. That's going to be a great addition to every sport. Yeah. Basketball, football, every sport. Garrettsville Garfield coming into the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference, whatever tier that is, it's just going to be a great addition.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It makes a great tier even better. And it's one of those ones that, they're just, every conference in our area is competitive. It really is. And that one just adds even more competition into it. And just that rivalry and stuff like that. It's almost tough to explain how important it is. And every game matters in that. I mean, it really does. Every single game you play matters in those conferences that are like that.
The last 3 years, I've kept tabs on both boys and girls basketball, how well we do against out-of-town opponents in the sectional tournament, the district tournament, and then in the regional tournament. And 3 years ago, we held our own in the sectional tournaments. But when we got to districts, we'd get smoked. And when we got to regionals, we really got smoked, losing records all the way around. 2 years ago, much better against the sectional teams in sectional play, held our own in districts, still struggled in the regionals. Last year, up until everything got shut down, which was into the regional semifinals, we had a really good record, both boys and girls, in sectional and district play. And regionals, again, I mean, the girls were a week ahead, so we got a team down to Columbus in West Branch. So you've seen the progression where we're improving year after year after year. Do we have some programs that have a legit chance, assuming we have an entire season and the tournaments, and that's a big assumption. Hopefully COVID gets kicked to the curb. Do we have a series of programs in both boys and girls basketball that are a threat to get all the way down to Columbus?
I think so. I think there is. I think there's enough talent across the board, and I think there's some teams that have shown flashes of it, like last year, that can definitely get back. I think there's some good teams that can make some noise and surprise a lot of people, honestly. Because, I mean, not many people in our area know about it. Like, they just kind of see it and they're like, oh, yeah, you're a good team, but what have you done and all that stuff. But I think there's some teams that can surprise a lot.
All right, Black Friday is when the boys season starts. A lot of preparations leading up to it. You guys have been scrimmaging a couple of teams from since the practices opened up. How many scrimmages will you guys have before the season starts?
As of right now, we're planning on maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah.
We had our inter squad last night, our blue-white scrimmage last night, and I mean, they got after it, both sides. It was a very fun game to be a part of and watch, and just to see the progression that we've made, even in the short amount of time since football season ended, and got our full team together and all that stuff. Just to see everybody kind of go back at it and just seeing basketball again was just incredible to see.
How did you guys break that up? Did you seniors and freshmen against sophomores and juniors?
No, so we just had 2 captains. We just let them pick, and we just went at it. I mean, it was kind of a way of saying, hey, you guys build competition. I mean, let you guys do it and fight for each other. I mean, just go after it.
Yeah, that whole playground mentality where you're the last pick. Oh, I'm pissed every time someone does it. And you're talking about a veteran here that was the last pick. I mean, if I had a dime for every time I was picked last in an athletic event, I would be retired, living and probably owning a private island. That's how bad it was. But no, it's just that's cool. I mean, that's get after it and let's have some fun. And the beautiful thing is, as we've tried to tell kids, when you're playing amongst yourselves and practicing amongst yourselves, that scoreboard clock is always off.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you do, it doesn't mean anything because that scoreboard clock is off. Once that thing is on, and once there's people that are in the stands, okay, now you're playing for something. But as long as that the bleachers are all bunched out or scrunched in, and the scoreboard is off, you're not playing for anything. You're just trying to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things when even though the scoreboard's off, you still play for pride.
Oh, absolutely.
You play for yourself. You play for the guy next to you. You want to get each other better. I mean, because at the end of the day, if you get 10 guys that are going at each other every day, getting each other better, I mean, you got 10 guys that are ready to go come Friday or Tuesday night whenever you open up.
Yeah,
and that's the biggest part of it. I mean, you want to get probably 8 to 10 guys that can fully go whenever their number's called are ready to go,
No question about it. And the beautiful thing is the JV team who's pushing the varsity team, they're only going to get better because you're pushing the varsity team. And the young kids that are trying to get on the varsity team, they're trying to knock on the door as hard as they can. So it's just making the program that much better. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's one of those things like top to bottom, I mean, every one of them can play. They all can play, and that's why you're there. And it's just who's going to step up and put the time in and get better and want to get better, and that's where your program success comes from.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Oh my God, it's going to be fun. I just hope that basketball is going to be uninterrupted. I hope that we are. Yeah, I understand the people or the lack thereof in the auditoriums and gymnasiums. That's going to suck, but as long as basketball goes uninterrupted, it'll be a lot of fun to watch some basketball in this area because we're getting better, and that's a great sign, that the fact that this area is getting a whole lot better in basketball. And for the first time in a while, in the summertime, you go to the park and you see the basketball courts jam-packed. Okay, now the message has been sent. Everyone is taking the sport a little more seriously, and the fact that AAU is now alive and well in this area, it's making our area talent that much better, and that's good because we were a ways behind Cleveland and Canton and Akron and to our brothers and sisters just inside the Western PA. Now the gap is narrowing, and we can hold our own against those schools.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like our chances every day. I mean, we got one of those things that we have like a chip on our shoulder. I mean, we're Youngstown. I mean, no matter where you're from in this area, it's kind of that whole mentality. We're Youngstown. We could take you on.
And if we're not going to beat you on the basketball floor, we're going to beat you in the pizza department.
Absolutely.
By God, that's going to happen. What are you doing for your birthday tonight?
Practice. That's it.
All
Practice
right.
And get ready for tomorrow's scrimmage.
There you go. Who you guys got?
We get Edison. So
okay.
Get ready to take on Edison. Hopefully it'll be a good one. I mean, they got a good team.
Give me a scouting report. I mean, they are in our YSN family. You got to do a little scouting report for those guys.
Yeah, I mean they're a great team. They're well coached. They're gritty. I mean, they're one of those teams that they're ready to show up, and if you take them lightly, I mean, they'll hit you in the mouth. They're ready to go too. I mean, They run a great offense. They ran a flex offense for a little while against us a couple years ago, and much of the same as expected this year. And they're gonna press you. They're gonna get up in your face and make it hard. I mean, it's one of those things like, if you're not ready, they are. So you better come ready.
Okay, Coach Brazil does full court on YSN every Friday afternoon at 4:00. How many times have you been his ear and said, "You got to tell me about this full court press that you guys kept doing when you were coach"?
Well, I can tell you this: I have a lot of film on Coach Brazil.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of that press. I've been a part of that press, getting pressed. It's tough. It's a tough press. It's good. I like what he does, the way he rotates everybody, and the way he can get his team to play. I mean, he was able to get everybody to play no matter what position they were, and they knew their job, and they did it well. They did a good job trapping and all that stuff. And I've asked Jeff numerous times, hey, how do you do this and all that stuff? He's like, I just do it. It's just second nature to him.
He's not willing to give up those secrets.
I don't know if he knows how to give it up, to be honest with you. I think he just kind of has done it for so long that it's like, I just do it.
It's kind of like making a recipe that you know by the back of your hand. You're just sleepwalking through doing the ingredients and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I saw it firsthand on a number of games, and I'm like, how the hell is he able to put that much pressure in so many different spots on the floor? Spots that you would normally think, okay, you can't possibly put pressure over here, and he does. It was amazing to watch, and the kids were flying all over the place, and they knew their assignments, and they it was like watching a band playing just a great set together where everyone was doing their thing, and oh God, it's beautiful to watch.
Oh, absolutely. And it worked. It's like he always said. He said that you live and die by it. I mean, he would either go up 20 or go down 20 if they broke it. And it was one of those things, like he just never got out of it, stuck with it, and just believed it. And it worked. It gave him a lot of success, and congrats on a great career, Coach.
I mean, no doubt.
Well-deserved and happy retirement.
Yeah, I mean, he could make a serious amount of money if he told people how this thing goes, but, I'll just let that one go. Hey, always a pleasure. I can't wait for basketball to start, and I'll probably see you a couple of times because I'll follow my beloved alma mater for a couple of games. I'm sure I'll get an opportunity to see Lisbon twice. and then just remind everyone, you see that Sifke kid? You got to deal with him for 4 years, Coach. You're good luck with that.
Yeah, but we're excited. I mean, it's going to be a fun year, and I mean, I think Latonia can do some great things. I really do.
We'll see. I think the future could be bright,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully Coach Dennis is able to get the kids to buy into the program. By all accounts, they're starting to buy into the program, which is a great thing. And I think much like the football program with Coach Julia, if kids start buying in and start just doing what the coach is instructing them to do, I think Latonia could have a pretty good basketball program, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I like the future there. There's no doubt, especially the kids that I coached last year. Good God, there's a couple of them that I think they're going to be special kids. No two ways about it. Always a pleasure, good sir, and happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate
that.
that.
I wish that I was your age, because that would mean that I'm no longer going snap, crackle, pop without. You're 30 years younger than me. You don't know old yet.
I feel it, though. My body feels it. I crack and pop, too.
Yeah. All right, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, see you. Quinn Pusk, our guest. Stick around, more to come. It's a free-for-all Friday. Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet, Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Stick around, more to come.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect.
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
More local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because
I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot
lot of eyes on our area.
Online,
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
on social media, and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Welcome back to a Friday edition of Running Point as we close up shop. Best of luck to the Cardinal Mooney Cardinals in the D3 State Championship soccer match with Cincinnati Marymount tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. Best of luck to the Howland boys in their D2 State Championship game against Tip City Tippecanoe tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. You can hear tonight from Paul Brown Tiger Stadium in Massillon, DJ Yoakley and Dom O'Brien with the call. They'll have the pregame show as well as the game itself from Paul Brown Tiger Stadium in Massillon. Warren JFK playing Newark Catholic. For the first time in school history, these two teams will be playing each other. And only a berth to a state championship is on the line. No big deal. It's the Division 7 state semifinals from Paul Brown Tiger Stadium in Massillon. Warren JFK playing Newark Catholic. Game time at 7 o'clock tonight. You can hear the game on ysnlive.com. Tomorrow night from Zanesville High School, the Springfield Tigers will take on Beverly Fort Fry from Zanesville High School. A trip to the D6 state championship is on the line. Best of luck to Sean Guerrero and the Springfield Tigers as they take on Beverly Fort Fry tomorrow night from Zanesville High School. Coverage will start, the pregame show at about 6:30-ish, a little before 6:30. The game time at 7 o'clock. You'll hear that game on ysnlive.com. Before we get out of here, round 2 of the Masters is underway. Jason Kochrack has teed off, and unfortunately, he bogeys the first hole. Kochrack is now even for the tournament. 1 under is where the cut line is. So Jason has some work to do. He's now 9 shots behind Anser. The Mexican is 9 under. He leads the Masters. Tiger Woods is 4 under through 1 hole as he is starting the second round of play as well. That'll do it for the show. Power Hour is coming up next. Have a great weekend. We'll talk on Monday, noon to 3, Running Point, ysnlive.com.